Commanders and future commanders alike, welcome to my Zero to Legendary mini-series. This is Framenthor, and in this series I'll be diving into how I would go about getting my legendary items if I started completely fresh. From picking the right profession, to prioritizing gold making, events and crafting, I'll show you step by step what I would do if I was starting over today. This video is aimed at new players, but maybe some veterans could also pick up a tip or two. Subscribe if you like content like this, comment if you think I missed something or would like to add your 2 cents. And before we get started, I just want you to remember, legendaries in Guild Wars 2 are a marathon, not a sprint. Now, let's get into it. Let's talk about what a legendary item is. Okay, in Guild Wars 2 there's multiple levels of items, okay, starting from magic all the way to legendary. Ascended and legendary have the same level of stats, and then there is exotic, which is slightly worse but still usable. So for example, I have this exotic celestial gloves, okay? Now I also have legendary gloves. Okay, so if I replace these gloves with the legendary and put on celestial, you can see the stats are slightly better. Obviously with celestial you won't see bigger difference, but that's not the point. Either way, legendaries and ascended have the same item level essentially is what you're looking for. Okay, also has a bit more defense. Why do you want legendaries? Legendaries are basically peak convenience, okay? Once I have legendary gloves of, let's say, armor class light, all of my light characters will no longer need to find their own gloves. From that point on, I can just equip legendary gloves from the top of the screen here. And see, I have legendary shoulders here. I can replace, etc., etc. Okay, and it will always appear here if I am wearing a light armor character. And I can always switch the stats at will from all the stats that are in the game. I can put runes that I want, and then I can take them out for free. I can change the wardrobe of it, again for free. Okay, these changes will cost 0 transmutation. So basically legendary is just peak convenience. So that is why you want legendaries. They are basically like the chase item in this game. They take very long to craft, but they are worth it because they're so convenient. Let's talk about your first character. If you already have one, you don't have to follow this step. But if you're just starting in, you're very low level, you didn't put much effort into it, here are some things I would consider if I made a brand new account, made a brand new character, and my purpose was legendaries. Okay, so we click on this and we choose the character. Races don't really matter. Maybe there's some niche build somewhere that uses a racial, but honestly it's mostly for appearance. I do like the humans for the most part in terms of cosmetics, so that's that. Now, here you have the classes. So you have the heavies, you have the medium, and you have the light. If I was going for my first legendary, I have to consider which armor type, which classes would I be playing more often or more of, right? Am I more into medium, like do I like the ranger, thief, engineer more? Am I more into mesmer, necromancer, elementalist? In my opinion, the most important decision you can make is which one would you find fun. However, I'm not here to talk about fun, I'm talking about optimization, okay? While also having fun. If, let's assume you like all 9 classes the same, then we don't care about fun. We only care about optimization. If I had to choose an armor type to go with, I would 9 times out of 10 go with light armor. Reason being, necromancer, really easy, really strong, really useful. can do all the boons. You can do alacrity, you can heal, you can do quickness, and you can just do condition DPS, and you can do power DPS. And they're all fairly easy overall. Mesmer. Chronomancer, one of the elite specializations for Mesmer, is one of the best healers in the game, simply because infinite stability, can switch from alacrity to quickness with just one talent change. The builds for power go across the board between all specializations, pretty much, except Virtuoso needs less critical chance, but honestly, doesn't matter that much. Mirage, after the buffs, is extremely strong. You can do condition DPS, you can do power DPS, you can do alacrity heal, you can do quickness heal, you can do alacrity DPS. Okay. Mesmer and Necromancers are just fantastic classes that cover so many bases, and they're also extremely good in World v World, which we will be talking about. You will be doing World v World. You have to do World v World if you want legendaries. This is what it is. Now, do you have to choose these? No, you can go with anyone else. Engineer covers many bases, Ranger covers many bases, Thief covers a base, right? Guardian covers many bases. However, in terms of ease to use, in my opinion, nothing is easier than Necromancer for DPS and for heals, and nothing is as maybe Guardian is, but Guardian lacks barriers, whereas Mesmer can also gives a bit of barriers with the rifle. So, in my opinion, I prefer the Mesmer as a healer. It has its problems when it comes to like monsters, but in terms of bosses, Mesmer is amazing. So, if I had to choose a class, I would go with the light armors. After choosing your class, you are not sure if you're going to enjoy it. So after you do the tutorial, which takes about 10 minutes, you get to level 2, and you can enter the PvP zone with the 2 sword sign here, says PvP. And you just do enter PvP lobby. Since I'm already inside, it says exit. You can come to one of these guys. Now, technically, you probably won't have the money for this, realistically speaking, at first. However, in PvP, you get to check all of the specializations if you have the expansions. Okay, I can just choose any specialization. I am technically level 22, but it shows me as level 80. I can try out all the weapons. Okay, I can try out all of the builds and see if I enjoy the class that I picked, how it plays at max level. This can give you a bit of an idea. I don't think it matters that much to a new player, because something might seem fun at first and then it'll be like, oh, this is really tedious. Something might be like, oh, I understand what I'm doing, but then it's like you are doing 10% of the DPS that you're supposed to do. Okay, I wouldn't put too much attention to this. However, I did want to make note of this because I think just trying out to get a feel of what your character will be like, I think it is an important thing to mention. Anyways, as far as character creation goes, this is pretty much it. Let's move on to leveling. Unlike most MMORPGs, Guild Wars 2 leveling is a bit weird, okay? You think that's like, oh, I just need to go around do quests. What are quests? You'll see these hearts and you'll be like, oh, this is a quest, I need to go do it, and I get a lot of XP and I level. Yeah, no, not really. I mean, it's fine to do them for world completion, but realistically, this is not how you want to level. What you want to do is you want to click age. Okay, you want to go into your achievements and you want to go into character adventure guide. And you want to complete these guys. Some of them are very easy to understand, like mine this, get some achievements, do some dodging, revive allies, very basic stuff, okay? Adventure guide basically teaches you how to play the game. This is the most tutorial achievements in the game, okay? It will just teach you what things do in the game. Scouting the area. Oh, talk to scouts. Okay, what are scouts? It's like these guys with the binoculars on. Let me just turn off my not tracking. Okay, so where do you have one? Here, see, this one's a scout. I talked to this, it will explore the map for me a bit. Okay, here's another scout. So talk to these guys. Basically, it teaches you how to play the game. Okay, these reward a ton of XP. Okay, see, it gives you like an XP item. It gives you a lot, okay? To the point where I believe Volume 4 or Volume 5 is like 50% or 30% of your level. Like a book here, this one, Volume 4, if I'm not mistaken, was 50% of your level. It gives a lot of XP, okay? This is how you level up. Don't worry about anything else. In my opinion, 1 to 80 is not great. Focus on getting to 80. Every 10 levels, you're gonna have a main quest. Main quests are these green symbols, green icons, whirlwinds, whatever you want to call them. Just follow them, do the quest, finish the campaign. There is practically not much else for you to do right now other than finishing the main story and getting to 80. Because at 80 is when you can start, even as early as just getting to 80, you can start farming to an extent for your legendary. Once you reach level 80, you start getting homework or daily routine basically. We will be piling up on this daily routine as we go, but if you just finish the base game, this is pretty much the only daily routine you can do. And that is Tecatl. Okay, the reason you want to do Tecatl is because he gives an ascended weapon. Out of all the world bosses you can do, there are only 2 that give ascended gear. One of them is Tecatl. Tecatl takes 5 to 10 minutes to do. It spawns on reset. Usually there's a bunch of people doing it. This is one of like 8 groups that I found that were doing it on reset, what you're watching right now. Everything else was full. Like I just joined, like I was late. I was like 4 minutes late. I was lucky to even get in because usually these maps, there's too many people, they lock out, there's no room. Okay? So, fantastic world boss, easy to do, dies fast, and you have a chance to get a dragon chest. What does dragon chest give you? It gives you, well, aside from giving you breathing masks, which is cool, it also gives you a, where is it? Here we go. Chance at 1 random ascended weapon chest. Okay, so you just choose the ascended weapon of your choice. It has certain stats already imprinted onto it. You can change stats on ascended. So changing stats on ascended weapons, you can change to any stat you want, but it's always more expensive to get the weapon than it is to change it. Okay, most of the time it costs practically nothing to change it. Okay, like these are extremely easy things to get. You can buy exotic inscriptions, most of them. Globe of Ectoplasm, 5 is not a lot. You will be getting this pretty early on anyways. Anthology of Heroes costs 5 spirit shards. You should get, I think, about 10 to 20 by the time you get to level 80, because you get spirit shards from as rewards for certain level ups. Okay, so this would probably be your first ascended weapon if you're lucky. If you're not, that's cool. You're still making gold out of this. It still gives you materials. It is a good thing to do. So once you hit level 80, daily thing you want to do is Tecatl. Now, why do I say you have to hit 80 first? You can technically do it at level 50. However, from my understanding, you cannot get the weapon until you're level 80. It is just not in the drop table until you're level 80. So you have to get to 80 before you start doing this. Literally, 1 to 80, if you have the time and you just do what I told you, you can get there on the second day. It is really not that hard to get to 80 in Guild Wars 2. Let's talk about crafting professions real quick. I personally prefer weaponsmithing. However, the prices of the legendaries change. Now we will have, at some point, we will have to craft a legendary in order to sell it to be able to make more legendaries. Okay? Crafting one legendary allows you to, and selling it allows you basically to craft 2 more legendaries for the profit that you make. Okay? So ideally what will happen later on is you're going to be crafting, or I'll be crafting, tier 3 legendaries, which are the Oreen legendaries, the weapons. Selling them, you make approximately 1,000 gold in profit, and the materials that you can buy in order to craft another one costs about 500 to 600 gold. So you always, kind of play around with it. You sell legendary, then you can craft one, and by the time you finish crafting that one, you have enough to make another legendary that you can sell. I already sold like 5 or 6 weapons overall. Pretty much 5 of them, I believe, were the greatsword, but the prices always fluctuate. Either way, what I would do is I would choose a profession for crafting based on the legendaries that are most expensive. Usually this doesn't swing too much. And if you can go into it, you can see how many people are selling it for this price. I usually go based on the current buyer price, because this is usually what I would sell for. So let's say breath is 1900, wing is 1950, weight is 1900, flight 1910, insight, yada yada. Most of them will be 1900. If I find one that is like 2000 or 2100, I'm like, that's the one I'll be going for. However, at the moment, it doesn't matter too much. These will fluctuate. I'm actually surprised because the other day, scale was actually 2100 and I was gonna craft one and it dropped already to 1800. So I was like, good thing I didn't craft it. But yeah. The other profession, so only one of them you want to do crafting, and the other reason I recommend doing weaponsmithing is because you can craft all of the gifts, which I believe you can craft with any weapon crafting profession. The other thing is because you can craft Glob of Elder Spirit, and don't care about that, and Lump of Mithrilium. Lump of Mithrilium is the most useful out of the daily crafting materials. There are daily crafted materials. You can only craft them once a day. Lump of Mithrilium is the most useful one. Also the one that you can make the most gold off of. But Globe of Elder Spirit is also decent right now, because I think nobody was crafting them for the longest time, because it was actually crafting them was a loss of money. So now it's actually like you can make your money back. Either way, you need Lump of Mithrilium. You can get in multiple professions, but I just prefer weaponsmithing because usually the crafts for weaponsmithing are just more popular. So yeah, what you want, artificing and any weapon profession. Do not bother with armor profession, leatherworking, tailoring, jewel crafting. You don't want that. Armor smithing, you don't want that. If you only have one crafter, focus on huntsman, weaponsmith, and artificing. Next thing that you will have as part of your daily routine is doing daily fractals. What are fractals? They're basically dungeons, okay? The tier 1s that you will be doing at this point, you don't really need much for them. Get your exotic gear, which you can just buy from the, the trading post, from World v World, which we will be talking about that. You have to do World v World daily as well. I know. I'm sorry. You gotta do it. You need the World v World. We'll talk about it later. For now, let's talk about fractals. You need to do fractals. Why do you need to do fractals? First of all, you want to get to tier 4 as soon as possible, so you might as well start early. These are the dailies. Okay, so you're gonna start here, tier 1. By the time you get to tier 2, tier 3, 4, you'll understand how it works, so I'll only explain tier 1. You see these ones, the signs? This means this is a daily. Okay, 3 of them are regular dailies, 1 of them is recommended. Okay, what is special about recommended? Dailies, or basically any fractal, doesn't have to be daily, will reward you with fractal relics. And that's cool, they're nice, they're useful. But what you really want is pristine fractal relics. That only comes from recommended and from challenge modes. Challenge modes are way later, they're in tier 4, don't worry about them, okay? What you want to do is make sure you are keeping up with doing your daily fractals, because you can get, you can't see it now because I already bought them, you can get Mystic Clovers. Mystic Clovers is going to be the thing that holds you back from crafting legendaries the most. You can only buy a certain amount per week from certain content. You really, really want to get as many Mystic Clovers as early as you can. I am not kidding. I cannot craft legendaries as fast as I want to because I run out of Mystic Clovers all the time and Spirit Shards. Okay, another good thing about fractals, good chunk of Spirit Shards. Not a lot, not, I think it's like 10 or 15 per day, but it's good. Another thing here is you can get your first ascended ring that you can change the stats on, and this is going to be very important. You want to get the Mist Band, one of them, because I believe they're unique. They're not unique, you can get 2. However, don't get 2, there is another ring we'll talk about later after Heart of Thorns. You want to aim for this ring first, because you can change the stats on it. This would be your pseudo legendary ring for a very long time. Okay, because you can change stats on it, which is fantastic. So again, fractals daily, Tecatl daily. Now let's talk about World v World. Why do you want the World v World? Because the only way to craft pretty much any legendary weapon, I believe most accessories like your earrings and rings, you need gifts of battle. You can only, unfortunately, get gifts of battle from World v World. Another good thing is you can get a few Mystic Clovers here every time you complete this track, and this track is repeatable. I would highly recommend just keep doing World v World for gifts of battle until you get like 10 of them. Okay, just keep doing this one over and over and over. You want to get as many gifts of battle as you can. You're gonna need a lot of them. Okay, so that's World v World. Now World v World means PvP, and you're like, oh, I don't want to do PvP. Well, here is a cool thing about World v World. You do not need to do any PvP in World v World if you don't want to, just to get the gifts of battle. All you gotta do, okay, you open the map, we are red, and you see these little camps? Blue, green, that's one's red. In other maps, blue, okay. In this map, here's a green one, stuff like that. Camps, aside from in Eternal Battleground, are really easy to take. And it's, most of the time, you're just fighting NPCs. So if you have like a Celestial build, something that's like semi-tanky, you can take camps for free. As long as you take camps, you can maintain your tier 6 participation. You need to take a camp once every basically 15 minutes-ish. 10 to 15 minutes. And you can keep your tier 6 participation. You get the most track points, basically. You get, like, for example, I get 195. So if I go to my reward track, right now I'm at 5,956. And in 50 seconds, I'm going to get another 195. The higher your reward track, the more you're getting XP towards the goal. Now, if you do want a PvP, also totally fine. You will get more reward track. You will get better, what do you call it, XP towards your gift of battle. But if you don't want to, you can just simply PvE. Okay? I would also highly recommend, this is another tidbit, Wizard's Vault Shift Age should be by default. Wizard's Vault, you can set it to what type of rewards you want. Until you finish basically End of Dragons, I would set it to World v World. Reason being, PvE will sometimes ask you to do things you haven't unlocked yet. You could be level 60, still in the main Tyria campaign, and it will ask you to do a Vista in Cantha, or to kill, for example, I have kill 100 Awakened or Risen. Risen you can in Century, but stuff like if it's just Awakened, I have to go to Path of Fire to kill Awakened. It's a problem. World v World, you can access at level 2 or 30 or something like that. You can do World v World really early on. So World v World, you can start collecting Wizard's Vault rewards from the get-go. Why do you want them? Because Mystic Clovers. I think it's like 30 per season. Other than that, money. You can get a ton of gold. I think it's 60 gold. Very helpful. Mystic Coins is what you use to craft more clovers. Okay, so these are by far like the thing you need the most. Also, you can get the legendary weapon starter kit. You shouldn't worry about that for now. However, having them is pretty nice because it's really easy to craft a legendary. And the only legendary I would want to craft from those early on would be the spear, but I don't know if it's in the rotation. It really depends what the rotation is. But basically, from that you can get a precursor, like an item you need in order to craft the legendary, and the gift of the legendary that you also need to craft legendary. This saves you a ton of time, a ton of money. You also get these gifts. Gift of Might, Gift of Magic. Again, this is more materials that just help you craft the legendary. It becomes extremely easy to craft certain legendaries. However, they require a lot of clovers, so I don't recommend crafting these until way later on. Honestly, weapon is by far the lowest priority for crafting, so don't worry about weapons unless it is the spear. The spear, if it's there, we'll talk about, because every character can use the spear. Spear would be top priority in terms of weapons to craft. But even then, not yet. So anyways, that is the end of episode 1. This is how I would start my journey into crafting the legendary. Okay? How to get to 80, Fractals dailies, Tecatl dailies, and World v World dailies. Okay? I would do them every single day as long as I can. It seems like a lot, but let me tell you, this is maybe, the daily stuff is maybe an hour of your time. I'm not joking. This is like maybe an hour. World v World dailies is like 30 minutes. Tecatl is 10 minutes. Fractals tier 1, 20 to 30 minutes. Okay? Really not a lot. And we're going to be piling up on this in the next episode. But for now, this is what I would do at the beginning of my journey going with a brand new character.
And now, His Royal Majesty, the 98th Emperor of the Holy Britannian Empire.
Mastery
Are not created equal.
Okay, now that we're level 80, I need masteries. Masteries, quality of life, basically, but also some benefits in certain content. So, first masteries I would go for. Not even close. We're gonna get 3 different masteries in Fractal Attunement, okay? We're gonna get up to Recursive Resourcing, then I'm gonna go for Pack Commander all the way to the end. How do you level masteries? Pick the mastery, fill up the XP bar, you get the mastery, and then you spend mastery points. How do you get mastery points? One way is extremely easy. You type in Insight, and you get a list of all of the Insight mastery points. Insight mastery points, you just walk up to them and you basically get them, okay? If you want to filter based on which mastery points you want to find, go to Add Mastery Point Filter and add, let's say we're looking for core mastery points, so add core mastery points. Now, I will not see anything for Insight because I already got all of them. You would see a list of about 11 mastery points. Other than that though, you're gonna have a massive list here, bigger than mine, because again, I cannot see the ones that I already fulfilled. But anyways, you can also go through here and find whichever mastery points you want. Another cool thing is some of them also have ascended accessories for them. So here you go, another ascended accessory. So go through them, figure out which ones you want. Personally, at this point of the game, I don't really care about these. We're going to go over a better farm for ascended gear. However, maybe one of these would be easy enough that I would get my first ascended accessory, but I'll get rid of it extremely fast as soon as I get to what will be later on here, the Unbound Magic section. And of course, there's no point talking about masteries without talking about Blish HUD first. So, how do you get all the insights? Well, obviously you can see them on the map. However, some of them are a bit harder to reach, like this one is inside of the cave. What we do have is an add-on called Blish HUD. Now, can you use it or not? Honestly, use at your own risk. However, since Guild Wars 2 has been around, I've never heard of anyone getting banned for using Blish HUD. There's plenty of guides online. Muckluck does a great job with it, of course. I mean, does a great job with all of his guides about the add-ons. There is Blish for Worldview World. There is Blish for raiding. Just go on YouTube, find a Blish HUD guide. It doesn't matter. How do you download it? Go to blishhud.com, get it. Okay, this is not the type of guide where I'm going to talk about this. This is just the steps I will take. I'm introducing you to concepts if you don't know them, and you know, it's not that hard to find information about it outside of this guide. Okay, so what does it do? Okay, so Blish HUD is just a collective of add-ons. Okay, so module repo, and you just have a whole list. My favorite by far is pathing. So type in path, you get pathing. What does pathing do? It opens this little window over here, and you can have a lot of modules that you can put into this one, which would show you a guided path. My favorite is Tekkit. However, for this one, I'm using Lady Alyssa's guide. I like them for mastery points and other things. It just looks cleaner in my opinion. But anyways, I already have it set up, so when I activate Lady Alyssa's guide, you can see these arrows forming on the map, and it would basically lead me all the way to the mastery point. Okay, so this is the easiest way to get the insights if you're not sure how to get them. You can do map completion with it, all that stuff. Okay, so that's pretty much Blish HUD. Okay, let's talk about priorities, mastery priorities. Okay, so as I said, we're going for 3 recursive resourcing. Okay, and then we're going to go to Pack Commander, finish up all of Pack Commander. After that, I'm going to finish Fractal Attunement, Mistlock Singularity. So we do 1, 2, 3, 6, 4. Okay, then only then do I care about a legendary crafting. After this, okay, while we're doing this, we can also start doing Heart of Thorns. Honestly, I'll tell you right now, I'm skipping legendary crafting until pretty much end of Dragons. I don't really care about this. All I care about is advanced logistics in this line, because auto loot. All I care about is recursive resourcing because you get more out of your fractals rewards. Okay, and once you're done with those, Mistlock Singularity is just a nice little addition to fractals, makes you a bit stronger, helps you with using like this instrument inside of Mistlock that gives you 10 agony resistance. It's great, not very useful early on, but it's nice to have. Okay. Anyways, after that, we also have Heart of Thorns. Now, Heart of Thorns, my priority here is getting Nuhotch Stealth Detection. You will unlock most of these to some extent, 1 or 2 levels of it during the story. If you do the Heart of Thorns story, you're gonna get pretty much all of them, at least one. Once you finish the story, priority by far is Nuhotch Stealth Detection. We're gonna talk about it. Why after. After Nuhotch Stealth Detection, Raids, Gliding, Ancient Magic. Okay, this is from Living World Season 3. Okay, so Stealth Detection, Raids, Gliding, Ancient Magic. Everything else, like whenever you want. Obviously, this is just what I would do. Okay, and we're going to talk about why I want Ancient Magics as well, because Living World Season 3 is where we are farming our Ascended for the most part at this point. Next, let's talk about Provisioner tokens. You might as well start early on these because they are weekly locked. You can only get 7. Well, not really. You can get a lot of them per week, realistically, but they start getting expensive if you really want to try and get as many as you can. So there are like extremely cheap ones. The way I go about it is there is Guild Wars 2 Wiki, and you just go to Faction Provisioner, okay? And you just look what is available, right? Right now, for example, I don't need Mystic Forge Stones, so I'm using them. You should use Mystic Forge Stones, though. You should keep them. Okay, I'm going to talk about one nice little thing you can do with Mystic Forge Stones. And then, yeah. Anyways, Obsidian Shards are pretty cheap, so you can use them once you know how to get them. Anything that is above 30 silver, 35 silver, I usually don't want to go for. So, for example, we got the Assassin Cried stuff here. You know, maybe. Right, all of these guys, these are all from Heart of Thorns, right? Heart of Thorns is by far the cheapest one. Everything after that starts getting pretty expensive. Okay, so as you can see, there's multiple there, like 30. For each section, for each NPC, you can get 7 out of them per week. Okay, but you can do it all in one go. So you can just give this Ogre Provisioner 7 Berserker Cried Star, and you get 7 provision what do you call them, tokens. Okay, what do you need provision tokens for? Honestly, there's only one thing you need from them, and that is the Gift of Craftsmanship, this thing. Everything else is like a bonus, but you need Gifts of Craftsmanship. Pretty much every legendary you need at least one Gift of Craftsmanship. I'm pretty sure, like every armor piece I remember you need a Gift of Craftsmanship. I'm pretty sure every weapon needed it. Don't remember the exact amount, but like pretty sure you need it for like every single one. Gift of Magic Prosperity, yeah, you need it. Okay, Gift of Mighty Prosperity, these are all for the armor, for example, right? Legendary Relic, yeah, you need it. Legendary Rune, yeah, you need it. Legendary Sigil, yeah, you need it. Okay, so many of them you're gonna need it for. I don't have an exact list of which legendaries need it, but assume that pretty much every legendary needs it. Have like a few of them in storage at any point, just to like, you know, get ready for a legendary, or just have a bunch of provisioner tokens, something you can do on the daily to farm them as well. Let's talk about the Mystic Forge Stone real quick. So this is, let me teach you how to use the Mystic Forge, because honestly I had no idea how it works for the longest time when I started off. Basically, so you have Mystic Forge Stones, okay, you only need 3 of them, but we're gonna take all of them. Then you're gonna need 1 of each crafting. Okay, so you get the Fine Salvage, Journeyman, and Master Salvage Kit. Okay, and then you're gonna go to this Mystic Toilet. Okay, and you're gonna put those items in. Obviously, like you can see, I have a bunch of things that I can put in, but you know, once you put, not Legendary Spike. Once you put the Mystic Forge Stone, it would highlight what can go with it, right? And it already knows that Fine Salvage Kit, Master Salvage Kit, and German Kit, you can use those, and then you would get a 250 stacks, right? You get a 250 usable salvage kit. One of the best salvage kits in the game. 25% chance of rare materials, 80% chance of salvaging upgrades, which is basically similar to, well, actually it is the same as the Silver-Fed Salvage-O-Matic, okay? Which is the one thing you use for basically exotic items. When you have them and you don't have anything to do with them, then you use this one. So instead you can just use this one, and then you save yourself 600 diamonds basically. Okay, so that is the Mystic Forge, that is the Mystic Forge Stone, that is the only use you have for it. If you already have, honestly, if you have the, you know, the infinite consumables, you can just get rid of all of your Mystic Forge Stones. Okay, I'm keeping them, like I'm using them here and there, but for the most part, like they have no other use, and then you can turn all of them into provisioner tokens. So here you can see me standing in a random spot, in a random place, just standing, looking at mushrooms. I do not expect you to do this when I say we're farming treasure mushrooms. What are treasure mushrooms? Wiki treasure mushroom. Okay. So, treasure mushrooms are invisible mushrooms, which, by the way, even if you don't see them, you can tag them if you do an AoE ability and you know where it is, which you won't know unless other players are fighting it, and kind of you can tell where it is, where they're hitting. Anyways, there is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5. There's 5 treasure mushrooms in the open world. 3 are behind a huge meta event. One of these 8, don't bother doing right now. It has a 15-minute to an hour spawn rate. It is in a very annoying place to get if you don't have a griffin. Okay? I just would not bother with this one. However, the other 4 in the open world, I would check on them during certain times, okay? Ideally, when it's like nobody's playing, like there's just not a lot of players, okay? And during, like, if you're in the area, like just check on it. Or if you're waiting for something and you got like 10 minutes, do a quick round, see if they spawn, okay? Most of my magic mushrooms that I kill, I never wait for them. I just pop in. I was like, oh, okay, so like, let's see. I popped in here. It's like, oh, no magic mushroom. All right, cool. I'm going to, let's go to Bloodstone Fen, okay? So I'm going to Bloodstone Fen. All right, gonna drop out of here. Obviously, you're not gonna have the teleport scroll, but you will have this waypoint once you unlock Bloodstone Fen. Okay, we're gonna go down. Now, technically, you can just jump down and then stop yourself with gliding. I'm gonna use the griffin, obviously, but you just go all the way down. All right, you go here, you check any magic mushroom, no magic mushroom. All right, cool. So we're just gonna go to the next area. Literally, this is how I farm magic mushrooms. I never wait for them. It is a waste of time if you wait for them. They are important, but they're not that important, okay? You go, okay, next spot. Let's see, magic mushroom. Oh, look, no magic mushroom. All of these ones, so aside from like the first one you saw, these ones have like 10 to 20 minutes spawn rate. I think 10 to 15 to be honest. Alright, then just go, okay, next spot, whatever, right? And just do a quick round, just check if they're up. Okay, just gonna go, oh, mess that up. Gonna go up here, get on the griffin, and I really messed that up because of that first thing, but whatever, yeah, we're gonna go here. Alright, let's see. Any magic mushroom? No magic mushroom. Okay, so that's basically how I do it. Okay, I just bounce between place to place. If they're here, that's cool. If they're not, that's, you know, that's not cool. Usually a good indicator if a magic mushroom is up or not, or is about to be up, is if there's a bunch of players waiting. But let's say like this, if the mushroom just died, there's probably no players here. If I'm waiting here, let's say like I'm one of those people who is waiting for a mushroom, and then somebody comes and he sees me wait and he joins me, and then another person comes and sees wait, so it's like the more people there are waiting, the more time has passed, the less time there is to wait for the mushroom. If you go to a place and it's empty, there are no people, magic mushroom is unlikely to spawn that moment, except unless when, you know, it's like the dead hours of the game, like practically no one's online, dead middle of the night, stuff like that, right? Like when the population of the game goes down, obviously there will be less people waiting for certain things. Okay, now why do you want to farm magic mushrooms? Funny enough, for me, I do it for spirit shards. However, there is a very, very important item called invisible boot box. Making sure the mushroom is not here while I'm talking about this, okay? Other than the invisible boot box, the most important thing here for me is spirit shards. Also, great way to level up your masteries. You get a lot of XP from them. It's like 30%, 25% of your level, something like that, maybe 30%. Kind of hard to tell, but it looks like 3 or 4 of them is a level up. Okay, you get a spirit shard, which at this point in the game, when you're farming masteries, you're not gonna get a spirit shard. So you might as well kill these guys, get a spirit shard, and get XP for a mastery. Now, what is an invisible boot box? Okay, invisible boot box contains invisible slippers, boots, or stompers. You choose one of them. Why do you want them? And by the way, look how many people came here. There must be a magic mushroom coming up because, you know, there's a lot of people here for no good reason, like out of nowhere. You know, came doing an event. I don't know. I feel like a magic mushroom might pop up any second, but don't really care about it right now. So, invisible slippers. Why do you want invisible slippers, or any of them? Invisible boots. Oh, there we go. There's just 3 items right there. This is why you want them. If you are one of the lucky ones, by the way, treasure mushroom right there. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, it spawned. We're going in hot. It's gonna die really fast because this is where you practice your raid rotation. Okay, gonna kill a magic mushroom real quick. Oh, nice. All of them left. Everybody's gonna just jump on this magic mushroom right here. Okay, well, I don't need to try anymore. I tagged it. I can chill now. But anyways, yeah, so you are trying to get invisible boots, okay? Invisible boots. Okay, they all sell for a lot. And by the way, if you get one of these, honestly, you won't need to sell your first legendary weapon to make money. You are set for like 3 legendaries right away. A legendary is about a 600 gold expense up to 1,000 of materials if you like have absolutely no materials. So if you sell one of those after the tax and whatever, you're gonna have like 2,400 gold in your bank. You are set for the longest time. Let me just see if I get the boots. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. I'm doing a video. Can you guys kill it? Please kill it. Please. Please kill it faster. Please. Do we get the boots? No boots. Because, again, very, very low chance to get them. Okay, so that's treasure mushrooms. The only way to see them, the only to start farming them, is you need stealth detection. Since we're talking about killing magical creatures, here's another cool thing you can do with Blishud, right? So you just go to Blishud and you can see event timers, which is really nice, right? And then if you go to group events or just use all events, you can find the ley line anomaly. Okay, you can also put on like a watch list, so it's a bit easier. So you can just, these are all the events that I used to watch. I don't watch all of them, I just didn't update it. Okay, and then you just go and you find, okay, this will spawn in 10 minutes. The location would be this waypoint. So it copies it to clipboard. If you paste it into your tag, it will give you the waypoint. of the map where the leyline anomaly will be. Okay, and then you want to just kill this guy once a day. He gives you a mystic coin. Right now there's also an event going on, the daily festival of 4 winds. When you finish the daily for it, where is the daily for it? This one. Alright, when you finish this daily, you can get another mystic coin. So technically right now you can get 2 mystic coins. Mystic coins are extremely important because even though you can buy them, they cost about 2 gold a pop. But that is how you get your mystic clovers. On the weekly rotation, mystic clovers cost 2 mystic coins. If you are avoiding the daily rotation, mystic clovers cost 3 mystic coins. So you don't want to miss the weekly rotation of mystic clovers. Okay, you want to buy as many as you can at the 33% discount rate. Okay, so once you do that, you can once you farm mystic coins, you can get mystic clovers. Oh my god, I can't even speak about it. Anyways, what I like to do to get my leyline anomaly done, I actually start my day by killing Tequatl. So like during reset, Tequatl spawns on reset, and then right after Tequatl, I go and I kill the leyline anomaly. Simple as that. Okay. Another name for him, just fun trivia, is the Naked Man, and you can see why on the screen. And another important thing, this is where Blishad helps us out again with its pathing. It would be daily collecting winter berries. Okay, you can see the huge yellow line telling us how to get our winter berries. Okay, I usually don't follow all of it. I feel like this one is a bit of a waste. It's min-maxy, but it's a bit of a waste as well of time. I only like to farm this circle right here. I don't even go for these 3. So 1, 2, and 3, I kind of ignore them and I just go for these. Okay, and what can you do with winter berries? You can use this. Well, you can't use this, I can use it. Okay, you can go to this merchant right here. Okay, and he can sell you for a good chunk of winter berries. Technically, per day, I believe you can get about 40 winter berries, approximately. And I don't remember 100%, but I am fairly certain you can collect them on multiple characters. Don't quote me on that, but I think that is something you can do. They are character bound, unlike Bloodstone mines, which we're going to talk about soon. Okay, so what you can buy here, you can buy a bunch of ascended gear. From this list, I'll tell you right now, the only thing you want is the accessory. Ignore the back item, I'll explain later. Ignore the ring, I'll explain later. But if you need it, I wouldn't. If this was me playing, I would just buy the Black Ice Earring, and you can choose any stats you want from this. Now, another cool thing here is you can buy a mining pick, a gathering tool, where is it, and a logging axe that would give you unbound magic whenever you use it. Was it this guy who had it, or am I crazy? Yep, apparently I was crazy. You want to go to Sun Warming, who is slightly north of Sorrow's Eclipse over here, and grab it. And once you finish his heart, you can interact with him, and you can buy unbound gathering tools. Okay, basically whenever you gather something, you're gonna get unbound magic as well. So this is gonna be just insanely valuable for you, because you're gonna need a good chunk of unbound magic at this point of the game. Okay, what another thing you can do is you can just wiki unbound pick, and then you get this page. Unbound mining pick is actually what you want to type, but either way, and then tells you who sells this. and you just go and you buy it. These are all heart vendors in the Living World Season 3, from what I could tell. Siren's Landing, Ember Bay, Bitter Frost, Draconic, Ember Bay, Lake Dork. Yeah, these are all from that. Okay, and once you got these, okay, you're gonna be using them. Honestly, grab as many as you can. I usually go with like 5 and like 10 or something like that, if I have the inventory space. If not, then just get used to coming here daily, I guess, because you're gonna have to recomplete the heart every time you want to buy them. Just buy as many as you can within reason, okay, that doesn't bother your inventory. My opinion, Bloodstone Fen and Winter Berries are the best ones. The other ones are good if you want just extra unbound magic. Anyways, if I go to this guy, okay, you can buy a ring, an amulet, and a backpack. So you don't need a backpack from the berries. You can get a backpack here. And why do you want these ones? Because of Bloodstone Capacitor. And this will reset the stats on the ring, or on the pendant, or on the back piece. Okay. Do I want to demonstrate? Screw it. I have nothing to use these on anyways. I might as well. So let's say I buy, you know, a blood ruby band. Okay, I go customize. I can pick any stat I want, right? Let's say I want rabbit and apothecary, right? It's like, oh wait, my build, you know what? I don't want that build anymore. Okay, boom, reset. I can do it again. Okay, so your probably first pseudo legendary ring that you can get, and pseudo legendary back piece, and pseudo legendary necklace. Okay, necklace in my opinion is probably the best to get out of here because it has the best stats. However, it will also be the first one you will replace with an actual legendary, because the legendary necklace is free. So if you feel like you will get all of 3 of them anyways, start with the necklace. It has the most stats available. If you look at my items, for example, look how much the back piece gives, like 40, 63, 40. Meanwhile, the necklace is in the 100s, and then the ring is also in the 100s, but slightly less. Okay, these are the same. This is Berserker and this is Berserker. The necklace gives the most stats, so I would just go with the necklace first, then the ring, then the back. Okay, now you can only have 1 of each, like you can't have 2 rings because they are unique. So the second ring is the one from the fractals that I told you before. That is also, you can change the stats on. These are the... Excuse me, I see a magic mushroom. Okay, it's dead. No boots. I mean, honestly, I killed hundreds of mushrooms by now, but yeah, still no boots. Anyway, so yeah, so as I was saying, winter berries and the bloodstones. Again, same thing, same concept. You're gonna go to the main waypoint. Oops, not this one, this one. The main waypoint, you have your pathing unlocked, and then you go based on the route, right? The route starts here. So you're gonna go down here. Okay, good. Then you pick this up, and then you go around in circles. Okay, I'm getting volatile magic because I have volatile glyphs. So I get volatile magic instead of unbound magic, but yeah. Both are as relevant. I think volatile is just better, so I just use volatile. Eventually you will be switching to volatile because you're gonna need it anyways. Right, so then you go by the route, get all of them, just follow the path, it will take you to all of them. Do note that just because there is supposed to be a spawn here, for example, it doesn't mean there will be a spawn. Okay, there's, I believe, only 26 out of the Bloodstone mine locations that actually spawn, and there's like 50 something of them marked. Okay, they have potential to spawn certain locations, they just not gonna spawn in every location all the time. Winter berries, however, spawn exactly the same all the time. Okay, so this is one of your daily things that, well, one of my daily things that I would do if I was going for a legendary and just started the game. Okay, so winter berries and the Bloodstone and the Magic Mushrooms are added to a daily rotation for me. Okay, that is the end for episode 2. Let's do a quick daily rotation recap. What are the dailies that I would be doing at this point of the game? I would try to get my Tequatl done. I would try to get the Leyline Anomaly in. I would try to get Treasure Mushrooms, specifically if I'm in the area, not so much as in like waiting for them. I would definitely try to get my Fractals going. Winterberry daily, pretty much I would say mandatory. Bloodstone daily, pretty much I would say mandatory. Even the other Living World Season 3 locations, if I have the time, I would go and do them because you will need those materials for the legendary necklace. We talk about that in the next one. Event, if it's available, for example, 4 Winds right now is available, so try to do the daily to get a Mystic coin. And Astro Vault, extremely important because you can get Clovers, Mystic coins, gold, legendary prep. You can get a lot of things from the Astro Vault. Try to get it done daily, and at this point of the game we are still doing world v world because we don't want to risk having some event in the Astral daily that we cannot do, like killing something that is in a different expansion from where we are right now. Anyways, thank you for watching. Leave a comment if you hate me, leave a comment if you like what I'm saying. If this helped you, like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Welcome to chapter 3. This chapter might seem like the shortest one. As you can see, there's less topics to cover, but in many ways this would be the longest chapter for me to complete. If I were to start over, I would be stuck on this chapter by far the longest. Probably around 2 weeks before there's any point to advance. Obviously, I would still probably get into Icebrood Saga while working on these things. There are certain daily stuff here that would kinda keep me back. Certain events, for example, when you're farming for the Griffin, there are some events that take like an hour to spawn. I'm probably not gonna wait for them. I'll be like, whatever, I'll do it some other time. Okay? I would leave certain things for later. However, regardless of that, this is where the most account development would happen for you, the most quality of life, specifically because you get the Griffin and the Sky Scale, and you can start working on your first legendary, which by the way is a free legendary. It's not even a free legendary. Technically, this legendary is giving you more value than just the legendary because of just how you get it. Okay, a ton of resources, it's just so good. Okay, and Amulet is one of the best legendaries to have as a whole, so I want to start on it as soon as possible. So without further ado, let's get into the rest of the video. In terms of masteries from Path of Fire and Living World Season 4, okay, bunch of them you will unlock because of the story. You have to, like for example canyon jumping, you will have to unlock this to advance the story for the most part. Now technically you can cheat with teleport to friend, but assuming you didn't cheat, you will have canyon jumping already. You should have high vault from, I believe it's a Living World Season 4, requires you to jump to certain places. Again, of course you can cheat with teleport to friend or a mirage giving you a portal or whatever, but just get it, whatever. Skimmer mount, just get the basic, doesn't matter. Jackal, honestly just ignore Jackal for now. For the most part, honestly, Jackal is kind of useless now because they didn't add any more teleports. However, Jackal is nice if you're doing Dragonfall meta. There are certain areas where you might as well use the teleporter. Roller Beetle, again, this is it's a quality of life mount. Honestly, keep it for last. So ignore Jackal, ignore Roller Beetle. You don't need them. Level up Griffin as soon as you get it. And obviously when you get the Sky Scale, do that. And Crystal Champion. In my opinion, these three are your top priority. Everything else is just a bonus. Okay, so just focus on these ones. So we finished Path of Fire. Our most important thing right now is to get the Griffin. Griffin is gonna help us get the Sky Scale a lot easier, and it's gonna help us get the Legendary Necklace as well, but mostly because it helps us get the Sky Scale. Okay, we're gonna do it together. Sky Scale and the Legendary Necklace kind of go hand in hand because they kind of help one another. But in my opinion, you really want to get the Griffin as early as you can. It helps a lot. You don't have to do this, but either way, I will get the Griffin at some point regardless because it's just an amazing mount. So I'm gonna do it anyways. The way you started, you gotta get to Yanur Plateau. Okay, so what you do is I start from around here and I just start using the rabbit. Okay, this little circle thing makes sure that you don't take damage, so you can mount, because as soon as you take damage, you can't mount. Okay, another way is to just like properly time your jumps, right? Something like that. So, you know, I failed. But yeah, there is a way to avoid it outside of this, but honestly, it's just not worth it. Either way, you're gonna get on your bunny rabbit, well, bird, whatever skin you have. Okay. Apparently, you can also use the, what do you call it? The jackal from over there or something like that. I wouldn't plan on getting the jackal at this point, honestly, because it's just extra, but if you have it, then you can find a way with the jackal. Okay, so we're halfway there. We're just gonna keep jumping up, okay, until we get to where we need to go. Now, don't flame me, because I just don't remember the whole path. I think it was somewhere around here. Gonna keep jumping, get some height, good. All right, oops, missed that, so we're gonna fall down. Come on, stand. Okay, got up here, quick to the safe spot. Nice. All right, cool. We're gonna regenerate and then we're gonna keep going, but we pretty much already made it. Okay, from here on out, you're pretty much there. You can even use your raptor at this point, I believe. Does this cancel lightning? I think it does, right? Yeah, so you can just use the hover mount skimmer and just go all the way over here, talk to the corpse of the spear marshal or whatever he is, and yeah, the remains, right? He'll give you the portal or something like that, and then you can teleport here. I don't have the item anymore because I just threw it out because I have the wizard's portal, and it can just take me here one way or another. Wither, travel, last spear marshal. Yeah, so this is where I am already. Okay, so here you start your Griffin journey. Just do it's just a bunch of events, maybe some collectible. It's not difficult, but some events have like an hour to spawn, so it can be a bit annoying. But overall, the event, like, it's a very easy achievement to get. Just go to the wiki. Okay, so we go to the wiki. Just type in Griffin or Griffon. I always forget how they spell it in this game because there's Griffin with a Y, there's Griffin like this. Anyway, so you have the, unlocking. Here's everything you need. Complete these 3 achievements. Total of 250 gold is required, so hopefully you saved on your money or sold some stuff or got super lucky with a mushroom or something like that. Okay, so you just do this, you get it, you're done. Okay, like that's pretty much it. All right, so next is going to be the Sky Scale. Okay, now that we got our Griffin, it's time to focus on the Sky Scale. Now, first thing we've got to do is go into the Guild Wars 2 wiki, Sky Scale /walkthrough, or just type in Sky Scale and you should see one of the options. Once you go into it, there would be a walkthrough there. Primary article, Sky Scale, or walkthrough. Okay, now here we can already see we're gonna need a ton of materials, 250 from each living world map, and as well as 22 charged quartz crystals. Now, in my opinion, quartz are going to be useful all for a very long time because you can sell a piece of Sky Scale food for pretty much 5.5, 6 gold. Obviously it changes, to this day, ever since I made my sky scale, I'm still selling sky scale food. It is very popular. It sells almost immediately. It is a great source of income. So honestly, charge quartz crystal. I can't say it well. Charge quartz crystal. Really important even after you got all your legendaries. This is a great source of income, basically. Almost, I don't think it's 6 gold a day because of other materials that are required, but I think it's like 2 to 3 gold a day of pure profit. It's pretty easy, especially if you have your own materials. Again, pretty easy. Anyways, the most important ones here, however, is these ones. 250 of each Living World Season 4 material. The way we go about this is actually working on our necklace. So if we go here and we wiki this necklace, wiki Prismatic Champions Regalia, okay, what it would require us to do is do the return to. Okay, so if we go over here, we show all of these, see a bunch of return to. Okay, so it has return to Living World Season 1, 2, 3, 4, starting here, Domain of Addon, and Living World Season 5, basically Icebrood Saga. Okay, but we are gonna start this achievement of working on Prismatic Champions Regalia over here with the Domain of Addon. Okay, once you finish this, you're gonna get 250 Pralcatoric Ore, bunch of Mystic Coins, as well as Volatile Magic. Each one of these are pretty much the same, okay? Mystic Coins 3, 250 of the map's currency, 1000 Volatile Magic, okay? So just by doing these, it's just gonna be very, very beneficial for you, okay? As well as Dragonfall, obviously the 1000, Mistborn, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so bunch of Mystic Coins, bunch of other materials, and this is what you need. So once you start doing your sky scale, once you get to the point where you need these materials, start working on the Prismatic Champions Regalia, okay, and that would cover both of them. Okay, once you have the sky scale, continue working on Prismatic Champions Regalia. Doing Return to Icebrood Saga is actually like one of the easier ones. Okay, however, there are certain things that are going to be pretty hard without a sky scale. Okay, so make sure work on the sky scale as soon as possible. It is an expensive endeavor. The Griffin's an expensive endeavor, but yeah, we're gonna talk about Icebrood Saga in the next episode because the masteries are pretty important there in order to get some things done. But as far as this episode concerned, I'm talking about Path of Fire and Living World Season 4. Our focus is Griffin, Skyscale, and starting working on the Prismatic Champions Regalia. Let's move on to talking about daily stuff. Alright, so here's something that is kind of new that you want to do for your dailies from now on, for at least for a bit. Reason being is this grants a ton of XP. Excuse me. It gives a ton of XP, basically mastery XP for us at this point, and also gives a good chunk of volatile magic. There's plenty of videos about how to get these volatile motes, just YouTube volatile magic farming. But basically, as you can see, these would give a lot. Been a while since I used the skimmer for this. Ton of XP. If you look at my XP bar, and just go here. Start gliding on this as well. You can do it with the glider, obviously, but as you can see, it gives a ton of XP. There's a lot of spots where you can farm these. I already went through a few of them today. Basically, you can farm, I believe, about 250 of them per day. Something around that, and essentially that's like 2 levels worth of XP that you can get in just a few minutes when you get to a good farming spot for these guys. Another new thing we're adding to our daily is going into Dragonfall. All right, we're gonna talk to this NPC, okay, and we're gonna buy each one of these. You can buy 5 per day. Now technically they give maybe about the same volatile magic back, so you're not really losing volatile magic. Most of them actually give slightly more, so it's like, let's say I buy this one for 20, right? And then when I use it, it would give me 19. Most of them are ranging about that same amount, 19 to 23 I think, or like 18 to 23. Overall, you're not really losing volatile magic by buying these, but it's gonna save you a lot of time in the long run, because you will need these materials, these currencies, as well as you can buy accessories or ascended gear with them in case you need to like fill up a slot, or worst case, you're gonna have them as backup volatile magic in case like, well, I don't need this anymore, so I can just use it, which is basically what I did as well. Okay, another one here is this one. This is for karma. You buy 5 of these per day. These are by far the ones that are most worth it, as well as we are finally going to pick up our volatile gathering tools. Okay, why do you want these? These, in my opinion, are by far the most important currency. Reason being, first of all, they give the most volatile magic back, but also there's 3 volatile magic traders here. They all have ascended gear, so if you ever need to like supplement ascended gear, this is an easy one to go for with very little hassle. Of course, they don't, it's like, they're not super cheap, obviously, but they are also not that expensive, where if you do this, you know, daily, every day for a long time, right? And then again, you will need to do this meta, Dragonfall meta, multiple times regardless for your sky scale, then you're not really ever gonna be short of Mistborn motes. Okay, I never felt like I was like, oh man, I need this accessory, and it's like I'm out of, like, I can't buy it because I don't have something. It's like, no, you're gonna have it. Okay, it's really not that big of a deal. And yeah, so as far as this daily goes, pretty simple. Okay, pick up your gathering tools, grab these guys. You will also need to buy these things for an achievement as far as I remember, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Another thing you might consider is doing your Griffin runs on a regular basis. You can treat them like a daily. I don't know if you want to add them on a daily rotation, but they are nice to do every once in a while. They give a ton of XP, so might as well. And honestly, it just increases your skill with the Griffin, so, you know, it's a massive benefit. You get used to using this guy. I'll tell you right now, first time I used the Griffin, man, it was awkward as hell. And now I wouldn't say I'm pro at it, but, you know, I'm good enough to finish on time to get gold. Right, now let's see how much XP I'm getting. Right, so I just finished all 3. Boom, boom, and that's a level up. Okay, almost. So as you can see, just like almost half a level for one Griffin race, right? And this is one of the harder ones. And again, you can do them all over. There's one over here, there's one over here, there's this one, which I don't recommend because this is just a gathering all around the map. It takes like 5 minutes. Well, 3 if you have a sky scale full leveled one, but if you have full level sky scale, you don't need to do this anymore. Then obviously like each and every one of these maps have one. Okay, the one I just did gave me the most trouble when I was starting out. There's one over here. Every map has one. I do recommend doing them every so often. They are really fun overall. Change of pace, and honestly, massive source of experience. So when you need to level up your masteries, the Griffin is one of the best ways. That's pretty much it for this video. Let's just do a quick recap of the daily goals that I would be trying to achieve at this point. I'm going to divide this into 2 separate lists. So one list would be what I would really try to achieve, and the other list is like what I would consider more optional and situational. Okay, so for the mandatory list, or, you know, quote unquote mandatory, we still do Leyline Anomaly, we do the treasure mushrooms, we do the fractals, we do an event if it is available, specifically the daily part of the event, usually gives Mystic Coin. We do the Astral Vault, we do the Volatile Magic Mote farm with the mount or whatever, just collect the motes, and the Dragonfall Merchants. So those ones, in my opinion, aside like for like fractals, pretty much all of them are very, very fast. Well, and treasure mushrooms, again, is drop in, check on it, you know. As far as the optional dailies go, Tequaddle is optional. By optional, I mean if you don't really need an ascended weapon anymore, you can live without it. You can stop doing Tequaddle unless you like it. Griffin races, I would like it. I would probably not do them daily because it can get a bit tedious going from point to point. If I don't have teleporters at this point, and you know, it's a nice change of pace, but I don't think it's a mandatory thing to do. Winter berries at this point is optional, maybe unless you really need something from the winter berries, like some ascended piece. I don't see a reason to keep doing them. And bloodstone is also optional if you already have all of the ascended stuff from like the amulet, the back piece, and the ring. You can stop doing bloodstones, and you're gonna get more bloodstones later on by doing return to event, return to achievement. So not really that big of a deal anymore. But again, if you like it, obviously do it. Also a good source of unbound magic. And yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching and enjoying the series if you have. And let me know in the comments below if you also make noises, sound effects, when you use the bunny to jump all the way up. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Peace! Welcome to episode 4, where we basically just cover Icebrood Saga, because it has a good chunk of content to cover, so I don't want to make this video longer than it has to be by combining it with End of Dragons, which also has a ton of content. That's episode 5. Anyways, let's start off with the masteries as always. Icebrood Saga masteries. Aside from what you get from the story, I'll tell you exactly what you need, or what I would go for. I would level these at the same time. So tier 1, tier 1, tier 1, tier 2, tier 2, tier 2, tier 3, tier 3, tier 3, tier 4, tier 4, tier 4. Once you're done with all of these, then go for United Legion Way Station. The only things you really need from United Legion Way Station is EMP, which is, I believe, you just get from doing the story, and eventually Mount Stealth. That's also really nice. Other than that though, it doesn't matter too much. EMP is the most used mastery in the game. It just reduces defiance bars like crazy for our own bosses, so you might as well get it. All meta bosses, you're gonna be using this a lot. Mount Stealth, great to get out of combat with. If you have like ability to mount in combat, just go into stealth and you're gonna lose combat. There's other areas where it's helpful, like a highly condensed area of enemies that you just want to go through and not get downed from your mount. I use this quite a lot. I can't tell you the exact locations I use it on. There is a location, for example, in Lake Doric, but you don't have to use it there. It's just something, it's like a very convenient thing to do, but it's not mandatory. EMP, which you get through the story, I believe, and these guys to level 4 as soon as possible, mainly because one of your dailies, or one of the dailies I would be doing at this point, has to do with opening chests. That's what you need tier 2 for. Then you are able to open all the chests. Tier 3 increases the rewards, and then tier 4 just does more damage to like strike bosses and like others and stuff. I don't remember what tier 4 is for exactly, but it's better. Either way, honestly, nothing is more important than these 3 regardless. Might as well finish it off and then finish this. Raven, honestly, really doesn't matter pretty much for anything unless you really want to do Icebrood Saga open world stuff. And again, also, it doesn't require a whole lot. What is that, 6 mastery points in total? Pretty easy to get at any point. So yeah, focus on these. And as you can see, I don't even have Dragon Slayer. This is for Dragon Response missions. Doesn't really matter. Okay, if you like Dragon Response missions, again, you can do it. This is like at the end of it. But yeah, that's it for the masteries. Let's talk about one of the more important things that you unlock in Icebrood Saga, and that is the strikes. Okay, so the strikes is if you go to the Eye of the North, go to this portal, and you can do joint strike mission. There's 6 strike missions. Cold War is honestly something most people skip. However, I try to get it done at least once a week. This is essentially your weekly checklist. Okay, there's 5 orbs here. Each one is represented by one of the strikes. Shiver Picks is Shiver Pick. Cold Echo, I believe, is the Cold War. Raven Echo, I want to say it's Freynier. Whisper Hum, I think it's the Bears. And Steel Hum is Forging Steel. I'm not 100% sure which is which. However, basically, if you do all the strikes for Icebrood Saga, you're gonna unlock all of them, and then you also need to do Forging Steel. Forging Steel comes from over here, from the scrying pool. Just go here, do Forging Steel. The problem with Forging Steel, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour. You can easily solo it, but you can do it in a group. Honestly, it takes about the same time regardless if you solo or group. Group is slightly faster, but again, not that big of a difference. The only real difference is the final boss will take 2 phases instead of like usually you can get it down in 1. So not that big of a deal. But yeah, you want to get these done out of the way once a week and open this chest. How do you open this chest? You need 3 Blue Prophet crystals. Okay, well, you can use even 1, but it's just less rewards. You might as well use 3. If you don't have any, at the end of the week, you can go to this NPC and just buy them. They do cost the Blue Prophet shard, which you get from strikes themselves anyways. However, an easier way to get them, which I do recommend adding to your daily rotation, is doing a daily strike. Do the priority strike for that day. So right now it's Bone Skinner. Honestly, if you're not too familiar with strikes, Bone Skinner is technically the hardest of the Icebrood Saga strikes, but honestly none of them are really hard. Bone Skinner just requires you to move out of the way more often. Okay, that's pretty much it. So strikes, try to get them done once a day, and once a week try to get all of the strikes done. Usually people call it like IBS5. Let's see if there's like strike going on right now. Most of the times just go to like strike missions. You'll see a lot of people doing the daily. Oh, there, just as I said, right? Strikes, strike missions, daily strike IBS5, and then they're doing Kaineng Outlook, Overlook, I think. That's the daily, and Temple of Phoebe, that's the daily. Okay, so very often you're gonna find strikes. Obviously, if you're not in Kaineng or whatever, you can just do the IBS5. Pretty easy. If you are not sure what to run a healer or an Alak DPS, Alak or Quickness DPS, a Boon DPS. The reason is, if you're running a Boon DPS, your DPS doesn't really matter too much. Like, people won't give you shit, right? If you run a DPS and you're pulling 10k DPS because you don't know the mechanics, you don't know when to attack, the boss is evading some stuff, it's invulnerable, and you like use up all of your rotation, which I used to do, then your DPS is going to be low, and people will be like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with him DPS? Because people do care about it to some extent. Even though these are easy, people are like, yo, what the fuck? If you run a Boon DPS, even if you pull like 5-6k DPS, no one really cares, because they really just care about the boons. And if you run a healer, honestly, it really doesn't matter. And in my opinion, running a healer is by far the easiest job in the game. Another great thing you unlock with Icebrood Saga is Drizzlewood. Now, when you do this, honestly, the first time I did this, I underestimated how good this place is. I was like, oh my god, the mission here, like the story takes forever to finish, I just don't care, yada yada yada. However, let me tell you, this is one of the best metas in the game. I am not telling you to do this meta daily. I would not be doing it daily. However, I have to come here daily to talk to this NPC over here on the west side of the camp by the tents. This NPC. 2 reasons. 1, cash keys. I already bought mine, but basically the first cash keys, the first 5, cost 25 resources each. So you buy 5, that's 125. Then the next 5 cost 50. If you are low on resources, just buy the first 5. However, try to get 10 a day until you have like a ton of them, then you don't really need to. And the other thing is daily material donation. I only buy the ones that give you 250, but at this point in the game, like if I'm not super rich, I would not do the double donation. So the double donation means this requires 200. Today I already bought mine. There's usually 3 or 4 of these 250s. This is a double priced. This is double priced. I bought the 100 gossamer value and I bought the 50 thick leather section. I never buy the 125. They are priced the same as the 250. I just find them to be wasteful. It's not really worth it. The reason you want to do it is because of the achievement Glory 2. Okay, so first time you finish it, you also get a mastery point. However, the last thing on this achievement, and it's repeatable, is you get this thing, which has 2 mystic clovers. Okay, so you really want to try and get this done every so often. That's literally why I drop by here. I just buy the daily. I get this. I'm almost like tier 20 here, so I'm almost done with this one. This one is other tier, whatever. So it's like they will continue. They level up on their own just by getting the daily material donation here. The other thing here is if I come to this map and I see that we are taking over these ones, like there's a squad or a mentor or anything like that, and you see that there's activity in the northern part and people are taking over this, I would join them. I would not join if it's at the bottom half. That's gonna take too long. Unless I have nothing better to do, then fuck it, I'll do it. However, if it's at the top part, you're expecting like maybe 20 minutes and you're gonna be done. The meta here is one of the most lucrative metas, a ton of resources, and also because you're getting the reputation, or however you want to call it, for the legions, your Glory 2, the Glory 2 will increase substantially, especially after you finish the meta. Technically, this meta, you can run all day, every day, okay? There is no limit, as far as I know, to this meta. And again, if you are in need of clovers and resources and gold, honestly, probably one of the best metas to run. Not great for like legendary farming, but it's just overall a great meta to be in. Just a great map overall. So yeah, that's one more thing added to daily, and that is this NPC. Another very important meta that this one I would do every day. It's a very, very fast meta. I think it takes about 10 minutes or so. Just to get to the boss is like 3 minutes. The fight itself is like 5 to 7 minutes. It is an extremely fast meta and it is extremely lucrative, okay? Drakkar spawns a bit over an hour after every reset and every 2 hours after that. So for me, for example, it spawns at 9 p.m. in 10 minutes. Something like that. So 9 p.m. 10 minutes, then 11 p.m. 10 minutes, then 1 a.m. in 10 minutes, then 3, like every 2 hours. Okay. Anyways, why do you want to do this meta? Because it drops Drakkar's Horde. There are 2 key items you really want from here. 1, Amalgamated Draconic Lodestone. You need 5 of these to craft a legendary item from End of Dragons. Also, these are pretty damn expensive. Okay? It is slightly less expensive to buy the materials for this, to buy all of the lodestones, but it's not that much cheaper. Okay, so you want to do Drakkar every day to try and get Amalgamated Draconic Lodestone, or even better, you want to try and get the hood. Okay, because for some reason this ceremonial hood chest is selling for 30 to 50 gold, which means you get it, you can get 2 Amalgamated Draconic Lodestone. So extremely important to do this. Also, just overall, money. Okay, it's a good meta to do, as well as it at the end of it, it spawns 3 large chests. I think it's 1 of each, or 2 medium and 1 large, something like that, of Iceblood Saga. So opening them just gives you more rewards. Another fantastic meta to do that takes like 10 minutes is Dragonstorm. Again, try to do it every day. The way I go about it is I go to Dragonstorm, and then right after I go to Drakkar. They spawn one beside the other. If you go into the Dragonstorm like right as it spawns, you should be able to make it to Drakkar. Usually the first instance of it gets filled in like fully, and the run becomes really fast. If you join late, you might be in a very small group and it's not as good of a run. Honestly, sometimes it would just like not even worth your time. Just go like in 2 hours instead. Anyways, the reason we like Dragonstorm so much, there is 3 main reasons. 1, Gift of Aurene. That's a stat selectable any weapon ascended. So any ascended weapon with any stat you want. Honestly, this drops more often than I think it should. I got a ton of these throughout my time playing, way more than I got Tequatl, and I did this less than Tequatl at the time that I was getting these. Okay, another reason is you want Memory of Aurene. You drop 6, you need 100 to craft an EOD legendary. And the third reason is one of these, what do you call them? Wow, what is the name I'm looking for? Like you put it inside of an item, basically. Infusion. Holy, infusion. Okay, I don't know why I couldn't remember the word. You want one of these infusion. However, in order to get them, you do need to fill up the mastery for champions. Okay, that is the mastery I told you that even I don't have full yet in Iceblood Saga. So, you know, up to you. It's a bit of work to get it filled. But honestly, could be worth it because these guys, I don't know how often they drop. But man, they sell for a lot. So in that regard, you might as well max it out if you if you're enjoying the content of Iceblood Saga and you don't mind doing dragon response missions, then yeah, go for it. Either way, my main goal with doing this one is actually Gift of Aurene. I love having extra ascended weapons because, well, I have a ton of characters that it is very hard to get all the ascended weapon you need when you want to try a new build or anything like that. So doing this one every day takes 10 minutes, easy 2 gold, easy Memory of Aurene, where you need 100 of them. So overall, adding this to the daily routine is pretty much mandatory, especially for me at this point, and making it easy for me later on. Next, let me show you my route that I take to get the IBS chests. This is like an alt parking thing, but if you don't want to have an alt park, it doesn't take that long. You get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chests out of it. You can get more. There are videos out there on how to get the Iceblood Saga daily chests. In my opinion, I just don't like doing it. It's too much of an effort. You need a rewinder. It's like very min-maxy. And honestly, it just doesn't do that much. So anyways, let me show you the route that I take. I go from the western waypoint, go all the way up north. I wish I could like speed this up even more. That would be great, but unfortunately 2x is it. Okay, so we're gonna go grab this chest. Now this chest, the one that spawns here, actually has 3 spawn locations. One is where I took it, one is at the bottom of this river, and another one I'm going to show you later on. Obviously, I'm doing it specifically on ground bounce, just on purpose in case you don't have sky skill anymore. That was the second chest, okay? And then up here is where the third chest spawns. One of the 3 variations for that first chest that I picked up. So it might spawn right here, okay? And we go up, go up. I'm going to fail, I'm gonna fall here. It is what it is. Okay, yeah, I was a bit too ambitious here. Either way, so you go up there, you can go up here now. if I don't miss, right, go on to the lizard. Whoop, okay. And again, bunny. And bunny. I always forget the name of the bunny, honestly. Skipper? No, it's not Skipper. Anyways, there's another big chest. You go over here. You grab this chest. Now, this is if you have only ground mounts. If I only have ground mounts, this is the only chest I'm doing. If I have Griffin and Sky Scale, there's one more chest I'm doing because it doesn't take me a whole lot of time to do it. So now I'm going to use the Sky Scale just to showcase where I go. These are the only chests that matter. After this, there's one more chest. Again, use Sky Scale. Go with the Griffin. Head pretty much directly south. There it is on this big stone. Okay, and just go up there, land, grab this chest, and you're done. If you have Sky Scale and Griffin, and you have an extra character, this is where I would log out. I would log out here, then on the way back, I would take the Sky Scale Griffin, go all the way back, start with the middle level, like the one that is like not the highest chests, but like not the lowest, like the ones in the middle. Take that one, go all the way up, grab those two chests, go all the way down, grab those chests, log out. So my daily rotation would be like, if I stopped here, I go the other way. If I stop there, I climb back up and I fly back to this location. Okay, that is pretty much what I do for my daily. I've been doing this since forever, and the reason I'm doing this is because of these crystals. Now let me show you what you need these crystals for, because they're extremely useful. Okay, here we are in the eastern camp this time. So in this keep, the route started from this area, right? So this is where the chests were. This is where the other chest is. Now we are on the eastern side. We're going to talk to the Karma merchant. So main reason right now, or basically honestly at any point, main reason I like to have eternal ice shards, which this character only has the 2000 from the bank, 153 on it, and then obviously the thief had all of them essentially. So I would probably have like 7,000 of them right now. And what you can do with them is you can buy the Living World Season 4 currencies for it, okay, which is something I do. Obviously you can also craft these for the achievement, but who cares. And what I would do with them, I would get a ton of Mistborn motes. The reason I like having Mistborn motes is, this is, again, you can use them obviously, like if you need it, if you need these for the return to achievements, or like for the Sky Scale, not return to. If you need it for the Sky Scale, that's fine. If there's some things you need to buy, like for example, difluorite crystals, you can get the Rewinder for 75 crystals. Let me just find the name for it, because I always forget. Okay, let's just do it like this. So let's do difluorite, easier that way. Fluorite crystal. Okay, so what you can get for this, and this is probably the most important part, is you can get Soul, Reward, Contents, Mystic Forge, Handiwork. There it is, Prototype Position Rewinder. This, honestly, at this point in the game, for me specifically, I don't need it. However, I would have gotten it if I knew about it at the time. If you're a Mesmer, not that important because you can just use portals. But in terms of, you're gonna need to do a lot of jumping puzzles, this is a lifesaver. So I do recommend getting this overall. Personally, I just don't need it at this point in the game. I'm not min-maxing certain things that would require it. But this is an extremely useful tool that you can use. It just rewinds you, I believe, 30 seconds in time, or up to 30 seconds. Okay, so something that you can get, and again, just use Eternal Ice. The reason I take Mistborn motes, okay, this is a bit of a gambling habit that I have. I go to Dragonfall, and again, I don't necessarily recommend doing this. However, you know, if you don't need the other, what do you call them, the other currency, then what you can do is, oops, sorry, this is the accessory. The amulet is over here. Over here, we got the amulet. Okay, so I just buy a bunch of these amulets. They require 125 and a bunch of volatile magic. So I just buy all of the Mistborn motes. I use them to get volatile magic. I keep some in order to buy the amulets. Usually I get enough to buy 10 right away, and then I just gamble on Ascended Salvage Kit. The reason being is because Salvaged Excellence. This comes from the Ascended Amulets. Okay, so this is one of my... This is like the only thing I gamble on in this game, realistically. Okay, Salvage Excellence, which is an achievement that will give you some consumable for the mists, I believe. And honestly, sell it. It is actually not worth... It's actually not worth trying to get this and get the achievement. Just sell it. You do not need this consumable, in my opinion. You do not need the gobbler for it, which I don't have. Let me show you the gobbler for it. So let's do wiki for Salvaged Excellence. Okay, and this is a part of... Okay, so you salvage it from Ascended Amulets and Ascended Recycling Collection, and that gives you the Fractal Reliquary, which has some really good deals. If you already have it, I mean, that's cool. Honestly, it's not worth getting it. I would just sell it. The profit from just the... what do you call it? The Salvage Excellence, the profit from it will cover like over a year worth of savings that you would get from the Fractal Reliquary. So this is my gambling habit. I love doing it every few months when I get enough of the crystals. But honestly, if you don't care about it and you finished everything in Living World Season 4 and you have no reason to collect the materials for Living World Season 4, you can abandon this, abandon this farm. I still like it overall. It's very quick. You get a good chunk of Eternal Ice Shards, plus with the daily strikes, you're gonna get a good chunk of them, and you know, something to do with them is always nice to do. Alternatively, you can use volatile magic instead of, like me, for gambling on the Ascended Necklace. You can get trophy shipments. Trophy shipments have, except from like these two, I have Cormyr and Congealed. All of these, you would be needing them to craft a legendary weapon in End of Dragons. So, you know, might as well. Honestly, not just that. These are used for your condensed magic and condensed might. So you're gonna need them pretty much for all of the armors, all of the weapons. So, you know, you might as well get this. And honestly, I wouldn't even sell the contents. I would just, you know, save myself the hassle of getting these materials later and spending gold on them, right? Instead of just, you know, making profit out of these, I just save myself money later. However, it seems like inscribed shards can make you more gold. You know, I guess crafting plague doctors or something like that. Alright, let's do profit per shard. Yeah, looks like crafting plague doctors exalted mantle can give you a bit more gold. Kind of like up to your own discretion. I would probably just go for trophy shipments, a lot less hassle. Yeah, less profit for sure, but looking for these materials later and buying them sometimes is just way too expensive, and just knowing that you can save yourself a lot of the gold. Again, is it min-maxing? No, but it's just a lot less thinking involved, so it's a lot easier for me to just buy that instead. Though, of course, I am still gambling on the Ascended Necklace because I like, you know, high risk, high reward type of situations, I guess. Now, for what I said earlier regarding the strikes, Okay, so if you go to the strikes, you actually want to collect as many of these crystals as you can. First of all, you can get ascended gear for it. Extremely cheap, extremely easy to farm. Okay, one of the best value for the amount of farming you need to do. And you can get pretty much any specific equipment you need for practically free. Okay, getting 150 is honestly 2 days of strikes. Not even. Do the daily strike, do the regular strikes, you're gonna get like 150. Okay, it is extremely fast to get the strike shards. Okay, however, I would not waste them all nilly-willy. Just buy Ascended if you really need to, because once you get to Soto, Wizard's Tower, okay, so again, this could be a few weeks in the future, okay, you might not be getting there yet, but if you already got there, because this is not necessarily you are stuck in Icebrut Saga, you might have already gotten there and you're not aware, you can go to this NPC, and unfortunately I can't show you because I already bought it, but I'll just do Wiki Nikki the Lost. If you go to her, once a week you are able to buy Mystic Clovers and Mystic Coins. You can buy 5 Mystic Clovers, it'll cost you 150, and as well as Mystic Coins, and you can buy 10 Mystic Coins per week. Very, very useful information, which I wish I knew earlier, because I missed like 3 weeks of Mystic Clovers and Mystic Coins, and I just wasn't aware of it. Okay, so essentially, these Mystic Clovers are essentially free, if you think about, because you get the Mystic Coins for these specific Mystic Clovers from the same merchant. Okay, in total, it would cost you 250 shards, which is extremely easy to get once per week with very minimal effort. 250 a week is actually like kind of a joke. Okay, so very important to do your strikes early, so you're gonna, in case some weeks you don't want to do the strikes, you're gonna have like a backlog of these shards, so you can keep getting your Mystic Clovers and Mystic Coins from them. Let's finish this off with our daily, what I would be doing right now for my daily in order to just make the most in the least amount of time. Okay, now this may seem like a lot, but honestly, if you take out the fractals, this can probably be done in like an hour and a half of gameplay. Fractals are probably another 45 minutes to an hour, as if you're in T4 fractals. If you're not in T4 fractals, it would take substantially less time. So yeah, let's get into it, man. This is gonna look like a lot. All right, let's go with like top priority for least amount of effort. Dragonstorm, top priority. Drakkar, top priority. IBS strikes, honestly, just the daily. So just do the one strike for Icebrut Saga. You don't need to do all of them in one go. In terms of daily, you just do that strike for the daily. IBS chests, okay, the ones that I showed you. If you have a flying mount, do the one extra one. If you don't, just do the one on the mountain. Drizzlewood NPC, just go by, okay, 2 seconds. Drizzlewood meta only if the north is being done. If you see a squad or a mentor apple up north and you see that they already took like a few bases, you can assume that they're doing the full meta. You might as well join them if you have the time. Treasure mushrooms, still pretty much mandatory in my opinion. One of the least amount of effort for the most gain. And again, just go there when you have the time and nothing to do. Just check if they're there. If you have the Griffin and the Sky Scale, you can add the Draconis Mons treasure mushroom at this point. If you don't have Sky Scale and Griffin, ignore that one. Dragonfall NPC for currency. If you don't need the regular currencies, just get the 5 that you get for karma. Astral Vault daily, usually you kind of do it by default by doing everything else. If there's an event, try to do the daily, that's a mystic coin. Leyline Anomaly, that's a mystic coin, 5 minutes of your time. Volatile Magic Motes, only if you need it, otherwise it's optional. Quartz, log on to the character that is standing by the hero point and charge a quartz. If you don't have a character, just go there. Like, there's a waypoint nearby. It really doesn't take a long time. And the last one is fractals. Honestly, I try to do my fractals every day since forever. This is one of the easiest legendary back pieces to get if you have been doing fractals all the way since episode 1 when I said to do fractal. You will literally just have everything you need for fractals if you have been doing it daily since episode 1. If you haven't been doing them daily and like you're just starting out from 0, at that point I would say don't even bother. It takes like 4 months of farming fractals to get to the back piece. You might as well do the Orax, which we're gonna talk about in episode 7, I believe. I'm going to put Secrets of the Obscured and Jontir Wilds into one video because honestly there's really not much to talk about there. Optional farms for the daily. Tequatl, honestly, if you're doing Dragonstorm, Tequatl is kind of like one of the things that, well, might as well do it on reset. However, what I like to do at this point, I used to do Tequatl even up until like 2 weeks ago. Instead, I just put a bunch of NPCs where the treasure mushrooms spawn. And at reset, I just log onto the NPCs, see if any of the magic mushrooms are up. And I'd rather use those 15 to 20 minutes trying to get my treasure mushrooms in because I'm waiting for the Leyline Anomaly. Okay, another optional is the Griffin races. Great for XP if you still need masteries or anything like that. Honestly, they're just great for getting spirit shards because every 2 or 3 races you get a full level. And they take very little time, especially if you have an NPC nearby that can get to them. Winter Bears, if you still need something from the Ascended stuff in Living World Season 3. Same with the Bloodstone Nodes. If you don't need them anymore and you did the return to, you can completely ignore these 2 farms. Okay? That's pretty much it. I know it seems like a lot, especially on the mandatory list, but, crafting legendaries requires effort. Anyways, I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, End of Dragons is gonna be another massive one, for sure. Peace! And as always, we are going to start off with the masteries. Which masteries are the most important to focus on, in my opinion, when you get to End of Dragons? Some of them, as always, you will unlock just based on the story, because in order to proceed with the story, you'll need skiff piloting, fishing, some Jade bots, some Arborstone probably, especially base of operations. So you will unlock some of them. However, which ones to focus on? In my opinion, Jade bots. Get to 3 as soon as possible. That's your first thing, because it unlocks the waypoints. If you are really short on on mastery points, maybe skip it. However, if you're doing the achievements during the story, you should have more than enough to do Jade bots up to 3. And then very, very important to get Arborstone maxed out. You need globalization because you want to unlock Levius, okay? Leivas, okay, who appears in Arborstone. He sells once a week, so very important to get him once a week. 5 antique summoning stones, okay? You can also get summoning stones by doing the metas, okay? So, revenge of, every boss meta essentially will give you one of these, or give you a chance to grab one of these. Either way, you want to get globalization just so for the extra 5 per week. Really, really helpful. You're gonna need 100 of these for your legendary weapons in EOD. So you might as well save yourself like about 200 gold, because that's pretty much what well, it's like more like 150 gold, but yeah, they cost about 1.3, 1.5 depending on demand. So yeah, get Arborstone. After that, I would go fishing, maxed out. After that, skiff. After that, finish Jade bots. Okay? Technically, before finishing skiff, you can finish the Jade bot. The only thing really worthwhile in the skiff is fishing party, and that's only if you fish on your skiff around other people. So if you don't even enjoy fishing, honestly, this is like, leave it for last and focus on Jade bot. The last thing that honestly, it's gonna take you a while to get, that's the turtle mount. Also, the least important thing, especially because of John Tier Wilds having the forgot the name of the animal, or the Warclaw. Okay, the Warclaw has a lot of CC as well. Obviously there's certain things that the turtle does that in some events that the Warclaw wouldn't, but for the most part, so many people have the turtle right now. There is no real rush for you to get the turtle, so it doesn't really matter as much. So yeah, focus on those four, and then last, like legit, the last one would be the turtle mount. Let's briefly go over what End of Dragons is. End of Dragons is essentially a meta expansion. Okay, each map here, there's 5 maps. Seitung Province, New Kaineng, Echovold Wilds, and Jade Sea. Okay, and also eventually you also get Gyaladel, which is like post story. These are 5 maps that revolve around metas. Okay, all 5 of them have pretty much map-wide metas. What I want to focus on, I'm not going to go into details about the metas. I'm going to go about important aspects of the metas. These 3, so Seitung, Kaineng, and Echovold, they happen back to back. Most times if you join into Aetherblade Assault, which is Seitung Province, you will try to get into the next one, Blackout, and the next one, Gang Wars. Okay? They spawn one after the other. For me, for example, Seitung Province, Aetherblade Assault, spawns every 2 hours on an odd hour. So 9:30, 11:30, 1:30, 3:30, 5:30, 7:30, etc. Okay? I want to join the main group of this, so I want to come here like about 15 minutes early, maybe sometimes 10. Sometimes it just feels, especially if it's like there's a specific week for what do you call it, for like astral rewards that have to do with End of Dragons. You kind of want to be in these metas early. Okay, specifically, like usually you have like the Jade Sea meta in it, but sometimes it's not. Either way, so you want to be here early. What can you do in the meantime for being early? You can fish. It is very important that you fish. Okay, you're gonna save yourself a lot of money. If you love fishing, power to you. Honestly, I'm jealous. I hate fishing, but you gotta do fishing. Okay, well, you know, not gotta do, but you're gonna save yourself like 200 gold whenever you craft, up to 200 gold whenever you craft a legendary weapon. Okay, so 2 locations where you're usually gonna end up fishing if you're doing the metas: Seitung Province, because you come in 30 minutes early, and the Jade Sea, because, well, we're gonna talk about that one later, but there is a lot of downtime in the Jade Sea. I'm going to talk about that one specifically because there is stuff to talk about with that one. Okay, so why do you want to fish? For one, you're going to, every time you fish about 100 fish, not you specifically, but the map fishes 100 fish, a Leviathan will spawn, and he drops ambergris. Okay, the other place that you can get ambergris, and you need 100 ambergris per legendary weapon. Okay, you also want this NPC. Okay, so this is an Arborstone. From the waypoint, go northwest, and he's over here. Okay, the other reason you want, the other place you can get ambergris in End of Dragons is this merchant. By trading flawless fish fillet, you can do 5 per day. So if you fish a lot, again, kudos to you. you can get a bunch of flawless fish fillet, and you can get your 5 chunks of ambergris daily. These cost a good chunk. Ambergris. Okay, they cost 2 gold. You need 100, so that's 200 gold that you can save. The other thing is, he has a daily fish request. This is another 1 per day, so you can get 6 per day from just him if you have the fish that he wants. So again, pretty important to fish. And then also Leviathan can give up to 11 a day as well. So if you really love fishing, you can actually make a good chunk of money by spawning Leviathan, killing him, getting all the fish, buying all of these ambergris. You can make like pretty good income overall, and also like just fishing in general, you can get like pretty good rewards where you can make good money. Okay, so that's ambergris. Okay, very important. The other important thing is, as I mentioned already, was the globalization. And that is this NPC here. This is from the Mastery Globalization. This is the NPC, okay? Now he sells you skins for the legendaries, which is cool. But he also, which you can't see because I already used it, he also has the 5 legendary component that I told you about that you need 100 during the Mastery. Okay, I already forgot the name of what it's called because that's how I am with names. Anyway, so he's the one who sells it to you. Okay, 5 per week. When doing Dragons and Meta, the Battle for the Jade Sea, whenever you complete an event, you're going to get Dragons End Contributor effect. You need, it stacks up to 10%, but you need only 5% for the meta, because the meta pre-events, like before you fight the big bad, it will give you 5 more percent. The reason you want to get it maxed out, first of all, it doubles the rewards at when you reach 10%. It will give you 20% health and damage instead of 10%. More XP, that's cool. However, the main reason is the boss, when it dies, it drops 1 huge chest, which you will get if you participated, a bunch of very tiny chests, and 10 medium chests. The only way to open the 10 medium chests is getting the Dragon's End Contributor. Now, if you start the meta from the beginning, you will only be able to open 5 chests. If you come in about 20 to 30 minutes before, you need to complete 5 events. That's how you get the percentages. If you come in 10 minutes before the meta starts, so for me, for example, the meta starts at every odd hour. So 9 p.m., 11 p.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., okay? If I come in at, let's say, 4:50 p.m., 10 minutes before the meta starts, I will not get any events going, because the events pretty much stop spawning about 5 to 10 minutes, but it seems like 10 minutes, they're usually like no more events. If there was an event active, I think they still last through that time, but they stop spawning. So if people are finishing events, you are not going to find any if you join 10 minutes before the meta starts. Okay, so you won't be able to open the medium chest. Is it really that important? Not really. The most important thing is the huge chest at the end. That is the one that drops the Ascended Gear. That is the one that can give you all of the best rewards. Okay, small chests are just, materials. Medium chests are more materials. I've never seen, I've done this many times, probably like 50 plus times at this point, and I have never seen anything useful from the medium chests. Okay, it's usually just bigger chests of materials. In terms of strikes, there are 4 new strikes in End of Dragons. One of them I never see people do. It is, I would say, one of the hardest strikes right now in the game, even for normal. It fails pretty often because people just don't do it, and they just don't do the mechanic. There's a lot of one-shot mechanics in there. So, Harvest Temple, most people avoid. However, Etherblade Hideout, Zunlight Jade, and Kynan Overlook are the ones to look out for. Okay, if you go to Achievement, Daily Strike, you're going to have one of them that says that's for End of Dragons. Kynan Overlook today. I almost never see Harvest Temple, but it does happen. Either way, recommended to do them at least for the daily. Why? More blue profit shards, so you can later on trade it either for ascended gear you need, because these are the easiest and cheapest ascended gear, as I mentioned before, or for clovers once you go into Secrets of the Obscured. Okay, if you're an End of Dragons, that means you could have finished your Prismatic Champion's Regalia by now, and you should have gotten your Sky Scale and your Griffin. More on that later, because those will be pretty important for the daily farming chests. If you have your Prismatic Champion's Regalia, you finished all of the Return to, and by the way, this is the first legendary you should have gotten. After this legendary, I would go for one of these four. Okay, whatever you're closest to. Vision and Aurora are essentially completely PvE, some events, some achievements, and then the crafting materials. They can get pretty expensive. However, Conflux costs you about the same in terms of materials, but also World v World tokens. So if you are ready for Conflux, go for Conflux. Okay, these are very expensive. If you do not have the gold to go for Conflux, this is why we're in End of Dragons. Farm End of Dragons as much as you can. Craft a weapon. Sell the weapon. Make 1,000 gold in profit. Okay, once you sell one weapon can basically, the profit of the one weapon, you can essentially craft 2 more legendaries. Okay, that's approximately how much profit you're getting from one legendary. If you just buy all the materials, you will make about another 1,000 gold in profit. Okay, but the materials will cost you half to like 3/4 of the materials of the gold that you made. Editing Fragmentor here, and while listening to this part, I was like, okay, I probably didn't say it properly because it's not half, it's like half of profit, whatever. Anyways, I'm just gonna show you basically what I meant here regarding the price, and then I'll let the video play. Let's say you sell legendary for 2,000. That's like your ideal. Well, the ideal is 2,100, but right now you're aiming for like the 2,000, maybe 1,950. But 2,000 is just an easier number. Okay, 15% of this will go. It's like 5% for posting and then 10% taxed as when you sell. So you lose 15% of this. This is also why I never post my legendaries. I just sell them instantly to somebody who's trying to buy for 2,000 or 2,100. Right now, pretty impossible to get 2,100, but I did sell my last 2 legendaries the last 2 weeks. One for 2,000, the other for 1,950. Okay, so it's still possible. I'm just kind of like keeping myself on the lookout for those specific ones, but it's a bit hard either way. So what you make when you sell it, you make 1,700 gold. Okay, this is what you get to keep. Okay, how much does it cost you to create the legendary? For that, I use Guild Wars 2 efficiency. Okay, so if we can see here, let's say I have no materials, I'm not using any of my own materials, it says 1,182. So if you think about that way, the profit margin here is not very big. Okay, let's say TP's 1,700. Okay, let's say you sell it, 15% off of that is like 250 gold, so it's 1,450. So you only made like 300 gold. Really not worth it in that regard. However, it's never really crafting for this amount. Okay, you're always gonna have your own materials, you're always gonna get cheaper materials as you go, and you see the crafting cost goes way down. Okay, there are certain things here as well that you're not going to need to buy if you're doing all the farms that I talked about in Icebrood Saga, especially, right? Amalgam Draconic Lodestone, do your Dragonstorm, do your Drakkar, you're gonna get these. Okay, so this you're gonna be saving 70 to 90 gold, okay, that you won't need to buy. Mystic Clovers, buy the cheap ones. This is showing you how to craft the more expensive ones that require 3 Mystic Coins, okay, and 3 Spirit Shards, and 5 Ectoplasms, instead of buying the cheap ones that are like 2, okay, 2 Mystic Coins and whatever, right? Other stuff is, for example, this it can't give the price on, but there is the Gift of Condensed might and magic, right? So right now, because I have them, it shows them. But if you go here and it tells you the price, right? It tells you it's like 200 gold each, right? Now what I like to do is I just like to pre-order them. I believe I'm talking about this later on the video. Either way, the profit you're making minus the expenses. Usually your expenses would be about 500 and at worst case 800 gold. If you're selling for 2,000, you're still making approximately 1,000 gold in profit. That's all I want to say. Okay, however, while farming for the spirit shards and the clovers, you will be making some gold to offset that. Essentially, when you sell one legendary, you make approximately 1,000 gold in profit. Slightly more, I'm just giving you an approximation, like low end. Usually you're gonna make like 1,200 to 1,300 profit. But low end, you make like 1,000 gold in profit. The materials themselves cost about 700 gold, okay, that you need for the weapon. And then spirit shards and clovers. Okay, those are just the ones that like you can't just keep buying them. You have to actually work for them. While you're working for them, you're saving money on the other stuff. Once I craft a legendary, this is what I like to do because this is the thing that's gonna be the most annoying. Okay, go to your crafter, the one who crafts weapons specifically. Okay, if you are able to craft weapons, you're able to craft gifts of whatever. Technically, you can also do them on an artificer and maybe one more, I'm not sure. Either way, go to this guy and start pre-purchasing what you need for the next gift. You don't have to do this. This is what I would do. Okay, I go to the merchant, to the crafting station, gift of bones. Okay, what do I need? I have 37, so I need 63. All right, cool. Quantity 63, and always just order them. You are going to save like 10, 20, 30 gold overall. But the more you buy, the more you save essentially from the gap, from the difference in prices. Okay, dang, we made 1,000 gold back already? Hell yeah, how many more do I have to sell? Jesus, what's going on, man? Okay, we sold all of the globes. Got 1,000. Have the dawn. Okay, I think I actually lost money. I actually lost money on the gamble, you know? Because we started 2,100. Anyways, back to the gifts. Okay, so the gifts, right? So, you know, always have. This is like the thing that will like kind of hold you back the most after like spirit shards and mystic. Now, this is especially if you plan on crafting the next legendary you craft will be using these, but always try to have a gift of condensed magic and gift of condensed might ready to go. These ones are the ones that are going to cost you like 150 to 200 gold. So use the profit you made to make sure you already have this ready. Because the last thing you want to do is forget about them when you're crafting your next legendary, spending all your gold on everything and being like, oh bro, like I have like 100 gold and I still need these two. Okay? These are used in so many legendary craftings that like you might as well have them. Many legendary craftings, specifically I believe the accessories and the rings, require 2 of each. Which means you might want to sell 2 legendary weapons before you start crafting your, other legendary. Again, that is up to you. I didn't craft that many legendary weapons in order to get these. There are other things you can sell. The easiest way to know if you have money, okay, and this is a very, very important resource, is Guild Wars 2 efficiency, okay? I'm not going to show you how to set it up, but basically, once you have it set up, you can go to your account, okay? You can go to your material storage, wherever that is, material storage, okay? You can sort it by how much you can sell, okay? So it will tell you the value, okay, total sell price of what you have here, okay? And then just go through it, whatever you don't need, and you need, like when you need gold and you don't need these things, get rid of them, okay? you would be amazed to find out how many things you have that you'd never thought about or needed and you picked up, and then you can make a bunch of gold off of, okay? This is your number one source of income after like playing for very long hours and being like, well, where the fuck am I gonna get some money? Okay, this material storage is the way to go. Okay, so once you figure that out, okay, sell one legendary, get your 2 gifts of condensed magic, condensed might, right? Sell some stuff from your material storage. You are going to be ready for the most part to craft an accessory if you have everything else, okay? Let's say I want to craft conflux. Again, this is why I love Guild Wars 2 efficiency, okay? Let's say I want to craft conflux. Let's say we're not using my own materials. I don't know why I did no on the other one. Okay, it would cost me 1729 gold. Why? Because some things here, and I believe it's Mystic Tribute, okay, 2 gifts of condensed, 2 gifts of condensed might and magic, the 77 Mystic Clovers, the 250 Mystic Coins. Okay, Mystic Tribute is freaking expensive. Okay, let's do Aurora. How much Aurora costs me if I don't have anything? About the same. Why? Mystic Tribute, okay? Mystic Tribute is one of the most important things. And again, why is it the most important things? Because of these stupid gifts, okay? Make sure you have at least 1 gift of each before crafting most legendaries, okay? Let's say I want to craft Obsidian Legendary, right? Obsidian Heavy Greaves. Can you guess what I need for Obsidian Heavy Greaves? Okay. Oh, Gift of Condensed Might. Okay. If it was the gloves, I believe. Gloves. Or what is it called? Gauntlets, I guess, because it's heavy. Right? If I go for the gauntlets, I need... Well, no, still might. One of them requires magic, I swear. Let's go with helmet. If this one requires... Okay, and this one requires magic, okay? So always have one of them, you know, at all times. It saves you a lot of trouble, and then you also know that how much gold you actually need. Okay, so that's like my main tip for like, if you craft and sell legendaries, make sure to get another gift of condensed magic or might, or both ideally. Always in store, just because you'll be ready, because this one is a bit, you kind of forget about it. In terms of map completion, End of Dragons introduced something new for repeat map completions. Okay, so you no longer have to, well, I mean, the first time you do, you have to explore everything. You have to get all of the point of interest, all of the hearts if there are any, the vistas, you know, the waypoints, and the hero challenges, okay? However, starting End of Dragons, they introduced the lantern system, which basically after you do a map completion on a character, you can start clearing the map or re-exploring the map on the same character for the same map completion reward, right? By lighting lanterns, okay? How do you light these lanterns? You need charges of jade power. Okay, so just go pick up a battery, light them up, etc., etc. Each map is different. I think End of Dragon's End has like 56. I think Echo Vault has like 60 or 58 or 61. Doesn't matter. The way you find it is you just do lighting Dragon's End, for example, lighting Echo Vault Wilds, lighting... Okay, so these are these ones. Maybe Lantern, Kaineng. Okay, so the problem is like the mastery name is really bad. Yeah, I don't even remember what it is to like do the lanterns for Kaineng. Either way, and this is why I don't remember, because I am using the pathing, right? Pathing, tech hits, map completion, End of Dragons. Give me the routes for the lanterns, okay? Don't give me the barefoot or the griffin or the hero points. Give me the lanterns, okay? And then you get the lanterns for all the 4 zones. Finish them, get the map completion, etc., etc. it is substantially faster to do this. So just get one character that is fast. I like doing it on my Mesmer because Blink and Portals and Jaunt, like on my Mirage, right? I like to do it on the Chronomancer because he has 25% movement speed increase, and there are some places where you can't mount, so it really helps, right? So, figure out which one you want to do it on and do it on them. But yeah, that's as far as map completion goes. End of Dragons and after it, like Soto and Jantir, I believe Jantir because I haven't done map completion there. They're using this system, which is a lot more accessible, and you don't have to keep repeating hearts and stuff like that. Okay, last but not least, let's do the quick daily chest, just the things I do daily in End of Dragons. This is just very minimal, 5 minutes of your time at most. Okay, and will be added to the daily rotation, while other things might be taken out. So we are in Echovault Wilds. We are using the waypoint for the Jade Gate waypoint, right by the End of Dragon's End entrance. Okay, we're gonna go all the way down here. In order to unlock this area, by the way, there apparently is I think it's like a story part, but there's a chest right here. However, for many people, if you haven't done the story, it teleports you when you get here, so it's kind of annoying. So I don't remember the exact way to clear it, but I'm pretty sure it was like a story chapter that you needed to do. Okay, after that we go upstairs. This is why it's important to get your Jade bot up and running. Okay, then after that we're gonna go all the way up right above me. Should not have used the jump there, but whatever. Okay, I didn't need to. Okay, and then all the way up here. This is exactly why I said you would want to have a Sky Scale and Griffin at this point. Okay, here's another chest right here. After that, we're gonna head west. Okay, try to land on the tree to reset your height bar. Okay, go, go, go. Just keep going forward. Alright, here we're gonna take charge, then double charge with the stamina. I'm gonna go all the way down between the trees. Okay, then I'm gonna go up here. Man, I'm so glad I didn't mess it up. There's another chest right here. You pick it up, you run away. Okay, this chest picks up instantly when you click it. You don't have to charge, so you just tap it and you get out. Okay, after that, let me just check that I don't need a daily Kanta. Okay, I don't. Alright. Sometimes you need a daily Kanta Vista. This is the one I use. Okay, and again, now we're heading back east. And going up here. Alright, and there's one more chest here. You will need to kill this guy. Next, always go to Arborstone, check on the merchant, the fish merchant. Okay, just get your daily ambergris if you've done your fishing. Sometimes, like me, for example, I don't do a lot of fishing. So sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Here's what it is. And then the last one that I always check is I go to Dragon's End. I like using the Frozen Sea waypoints a bit closer, but there's one NPC over here as well. I'll show it to you. Okay, always goes to this NPC. This one right here, Peddler. Okay, and buy the writs. Do not buy the writs that cost 10 Imperial Favor. Buy the one that gives you 5 writ of Dragon's End for one of each other map, and the one that goes for Karma. The other ones, like this one, it's a bad value. Okay, is it really that important? It's coming down to 15 Imperial Favors per day. It's not a big deal if you forget about it, but it's something that you can do, and only takes 2 seconds of your time for 50 Imperial Writs. Literally 1 or 2 events worth of time per day that you're saving. And as always, let's finish off with kind of our daily goals and weekly goals as well. I'm gonna add that to the list, which I should have added earlier, but it is what it is. For the daily goals, we want to finish our daily Astral Vault, our daily Dragonstorm, daily Drakkar, Leyland Anomaly for the Mystic Coin, Treasure Mushrooms if you're in the area, or if you have extra time and you're not doing anything, waiting for the next thing to happen. Event, if there's a special event going and there's a daily Mystic Coin that you can get, right now with the 4 winds, you can get a daily Mystic Coin. Go for it. Charged Quartz. 2 seconds. Chests from Icebrood Saga and End of Dragons. The Drizzlewood NPC, trade resources for standing. Dragonfall NPC, only the Karma one, unless you need specific ingredients or materials. Sorry, unless you need specific materials for, or currency more correctly, for the other zones in Living World Season 4. End of Dragon NPCs, the one in Arborstone and the one in Dragon's End. Fractals and daily strikes. That would be my priority for the dailies. Obviously, I would try to get all of them in, but sometimes there just isn't enough time. It is what it is. Okay. As far as the weeklies go, we're gonna do the EOD metas. Ideally, want to do all of them at least once a week. Honestly, Dragon's End, if you can do them every day, I would put them in the daily, but it does require a bit over an hour of your time, like an hour and 20 minutes. And unless there is like a regular group doing it, it does have a chance of failure. It doesn't happen often, but you know. So yeah, if you can do it, that's great. Either way, try to get them done once a week. You do get bonuses. They have like weekly achievements that you do for more loot and stuff like that. But yeah, these are your bread and butter for getting the legendary weapons to sell if you need the gold. Another weekly is your World v World weekly. Try to get that done. Extra tickets can't hurt. Strikes weekly chest in Eye of the North. The one that you would need Forging Steel from, so Forging Steel is also technically a weekly now. Again, you don't have to get all 4 orbs above the chest to shine. You can technically ignore Forging Steel, you can technically ignore Cold War. They're just not being done a lot. Like Cold War, almost like it's not easy to get a group going for that. Forging Steel you can solo, but it's like 30 minutes to 45 minutes of your time. So, you know, up to you. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for the weeklies. Oh, and of course, weekly Astral Vault. And if there's a special event for the Astral Vault, always do those as well for the extra points. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you everyone for your support on this series. Next episode will cover Secrets of the Obscured and Janthir Wilds. That would be a one package deal because honestly, they don't really add much in terms of going for legendaries, or not enough for me to make 2 separate videos about. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Peace. Alright guys, let's get this started with masteries first, as we always do. Secrets of the Obscured Masteries. This is the order I would go about it. If you do not have a Sky Scale yet, finish all of it. Okay, get to Rising Spirits. If you already have a Sky Scale, just get up to Leyline Acclimation. After that, get Inner Naos. Very important to get Convergence Mastery. More Cryptis Essence from doing convergences. Overall, this is your main farm for legendary armors. Okay, after that, honestly, kind of up to you. Both of them are just as valuable. I would probably say Heart of the Obscure Research may be better because of Greater Arcane Treasures. But honestly, you're gonna need Astral Ward as well, because this is where you craft your legendaries. If you're not crafting them anytime soon, leave this for last. There's really nothing here that is very important for you right now. In terms of Janthir Wilds, honestly, Warclaw Mount, everything else, up to you. Mursat Shadow Craft, you kinda need for traveling. Oh hell yeah, I leveled up. You're gonna need it for traveling in some locations in Valvanisos, but other than that, just Warclaw Mount. Everything else is like, it's not really that important. I would say Lowland Coden will probably be the second most important. Well, after Mursat, whatever you need for the story. So Warclaw Mount, maybe the 1 or 2, the first ones. and then lowland Coden, and then homesteading, unless you really want to do homesteading. But honestly, I just it's not for me. But yeah, that's pretty much it for masteries. Okay, so flight training, inner Naos, astral ward. Sorry, flight training, inner Naos, heart of the obscured, astral ward. In Janthir, workflow mount, Mursat, 1 or 2 of the first ones you need for the story anyways. Then lowland Coden, and homesteading is honestly, again, it plays no part in legendary. This is like just your homestead. Since this is a 0 to legendary series, let's talk about the legendary armor. Now, in my opinion, this is not a priority compared to like the accessories and stuff like that, but if you're in this phase, or if you just want the legendary armor, Secrets of the Obscured is by far the easiest armor to farm for, with just very simple daily controlled farms. Okay, so the only armor that is faster to craft than Secrets of the Obscure legendary armor would be the raid set, but only the first raid set you craft, because it's 50% off. Okay, so in a week you can get about 35 legendary insight. How much legendary insight can you farm in one week? Right, so there's like, it's like 26 to 36, right? So as long as you do 25 legendary insight in a week, you can craft a legendary armor piece for the first one. After that, it's like 2 weeks. And if you get like 36 a week, in 5 weeks, you can actually have everything you need, aside from like whatever you need to spend gold on, and maybe clovers, spirit shards, stuff like that. You will have everything for the legendary armor. Okay. On that note, though, in terms of Secrets of the Obscured, you can get essentially 1 armor piece per week as well. Okay, and we're gonna talk about the daily routine. I have 2 daily routines, one for crafting legendary weapons in EOD and one for crafting the armors. Like, depends on what your priority is. And honestly, I do not recommend going for both of them at the same time. The only thing I recommend going for at the same time is clovers. Okay, doing the content for clovers, because that's clovers and spirit shards are going to be your biggest delay. Okay, the time gate is literally those. Everything else you can kind of buy with gold essentially, and you can make gold in certain ways, similar with like buying a legendary, selling a legendary. Making a legendary and selling it. Okay, so let's talk about Secrets of the Obscured armor real quick. Okay, now you see here it requires 5 cases of capture lighting, 5 pouches, 5 clots, and then obviously the essences. Essences is just daily convergences. Okay, luckily Janthir and Secrets of the Obscured have their own convergences, and they have their own weekly. So even if you just do the weekly for them, you're gonna get a lot for your time. Okay, I do recommend doing both of them per every day, because it's just double the rewards, double the essences. You're gonna get this amount, no time. Okay, so the thing is with these ones, these comes from the meta, right? So case of capture lighting, this is from the meta in Archipelago. The pouches is Omnitas, and the clots is Inner Naos. However, you're also going to need some of them for, let's say you're going for, because you need a precursor, right? So let's say you want to buy Arcanum of Astral Thought. Okay, so we go here, right? Astral Thought is the headpiece, I believe. So here is the collection. You only need to do this one time. Once you do this, it's not a big deal. But you need to do this achievement, right? Let's say you need to do the achievement for Astral Bearing. I'm assuming that's the headpiece. Is it? No. Astral Thought. That's the achievement, okay? One of them you get by doing some sort of an event or meta. Okay, the other 2 you have to buy. Now, let's say I have to do this one, right? So this comes from here, so this is a reward. Okay, let's say I need to buy to get this one. A near spawn heavy. Okay, so you see this one would cost me a cloth as well. So this would cost like the first armor you craft will require 1 or 2 more. Not of each, but like a specific one of the metas. Okay, so you need 5 of each. And for the first one, I usually just go for like have 6 of each ready per armor. That means you're gonna have 36 of each, and you're kind of gonna cover everything. For safety, I would say get 40 of each. Right? If you have 40 of each meta, you're good to go on the armors. Like, you're never gonna need these again. Now, obviously, I'm not saying farm it all in one go. I'm just saying approximately that's how many you're gonna need. I didn't do the math and all that stuff, but you know, you have 6 pieces, 5 each, so that's 30, and then you have to buy for the achievement. That's like 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, so like 33 to 35, probably 36 to be safe of each, and you're good to go in terms of just the metas. Once you do that, you can craft your full set. The next ones, like the second armor set and the third armor set, they're all gonna be like just 5 each, so 30 in total per armor set. Okay, then the Rift Essences. So let's talk about the Rift Essences. When you go to your achievements, okay, and just type in Convergence, okay, so you have weekly Convergence and weekly Convergence for Mount Balor, okay, so you have this one is Secrets of the Obscure, this one is for Mount Balor. So whenever you finish a convergence, now technically you can do this all in one day, finish the weekly. However, you might as well do it every other day in the on the reset. Again, gonna talk about that in the next video, where I talk about how to like attribute or dedicate your daily routine for the legendary you wanna craft. Okay, so you're gonna get Unstable Rift Motivation, which, by the way, is what I use for extra money, because even though it's not a lot, but it's nice, you know, you get like 7 gold. Sometimes yesterday I got 8 for it, right? So if I go to my history, sold, right? So I sold one for 8.89. I don't know why they sell so much on like a Sunday evening, but the one before it was 7.60. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind. Now, technically, what you can do, you can also use them to open up your Rift Essence coffer. Okay, I wish I could preview them, but I can't. But they give you essences. This is how you can pay your way to get essences. I just make money off of them once a week. 15 extra gold doesn't hurt anybody, right? So that's in terms of that. So anyway, so, and the other thing, if you go to the convergence, the other 2 rewards are these convergence extractions. So you get 3 of these, more essences. Okay, so just do your convergences. In terms of essences, that's pretty much it. You can do the rifts if you like them. Honestly, dude, I haven't done rifts in forever. I crafted a full legendary armor without any issues, just doing convergence every day. And here's a, I don't know, pro tip, whatever. Honestly, try to get into a convergence CM. It is really easy. It is like, especially now, it's like very, very, what do you call it? Very methodical at this point. It's a solved problem. Convergence CM is really easy. However, getting the group is the painful part. I use this Discord, Convergence Corp. Okay. I guess I can't really show you the thing, but honestly, just Google Convergence Corp Discord. You'll find them, join them. They post their CM runs. There is a whole instruction what the schedule is like, etc. You can get your challenge modes, and honestly, you want the challenge modes because you also unlock specific relics that come with them. Some of them are really good, so aim for that. In case you are aiming, which I don't recommend in terms of efficiency, but hey, if you want to do it, that's, you know, power to you. If you're gonna craft the legendary spear or the legendary backpiece from John Thier Wilds, you would want to get the discounted shard of Lowland Shore. I think it's a once a week, yeah, 7 per week. In order to get the discounted ones, you have to do the heart. So you have discounted shard of Lowland Shore. Okay, you have the discounted shard of Bava Nisos. This is for the Oryx. Lowland Shore and Chantir Sintry is for the spear. Personally, I would probably never craft these unless I finished all my legendaries and I was like, hey, you know what? I like the appearance. They are extremely inefficient. If we just go to efficiency, okay, and again, best source in the game by far. Let's do Oryx manifested, right? Let's say I have nothing. Okay, it costs 4,000 gold basically. Okay, and again, this is like probably less because like this is not the discounted price, yada yada. Let's say 36 ish, but maybe 3,500 gold, right? Meanwhile, if I go for ad infinitum, which is practically a free one, okay, it's like half as much. Literally. So I don't see a reason ever going for Oryx unless I just really like the skin. But in terms of, and really hate fractals, right? If you've been following this series and you've been doing the fractals all along, this is practically free. The only thing you have to worry about is Gift of Fortune, which, by the way, if you've been getting your Astral Vault Legendary Starter Kit, the Gift of Magic and Gift of Might are free for after you do 2 seasons. The only weapon, and I think I said it before in a different video, the only weapon I would go for in terms of the Legendary Weapon Starter Kit, the only weapon I would go for, realistically speaking, would be the Kamotaki. Or Kotaki, however you want to call it. I called Kamotaki, the first 4 letters, the last 4 letters. Okay, that's the only spear. And if I go for this, which is, by the way, again, a free spear, technically, aside from like, you know, Mystic, the Gift of Fortune, then why would I go for the Legendary Spear in Jantir Wilds? And if I played for multiple seasons, which, by the way, by the time you even want to craft a legendary backpiece, because that is the last legendary you want to craft out of these 5, well, 6, right? So you have backpiece, accessory, necklace, and rings. Backpiece is the least important one of these 6. Okay? Like, just these 5 are going to take you months. So, in those months, you are probably at least 2 or 3 seasons into the game. Okay? So, you're gonna have a Gift of Magic and a Gift of Might, so that's free. Okay, that's pretty much a free legendary backpiece if you get Ad Infinitum. Okay, the reason you're gonna go for this last is because it provides the least amount of stats. Right? These are like, give you like twice as much, this is like almost 3 times as much. Right, and then this is like the biggest one, right? This is 2.5, like something like that. I don't remember, like or like 1.75. This is times 2, and this like times 2.25. More stats than the Ad Infinitum. So like, there's no real reason to go for the back piece. However, the first 6 legendaries I would craft would be this 6, except maybe Kamotaki, because everybody uses a spear. Every character can use a spear. Then that is the most useful legendary weapon by far. Okay, but that would not be a priority compared to these ones. Okay, so again, as you can see, and then you have Kamotaki versus whatever that thing is called, right? So crafting it is 1800 versus Club Yarn. Okay, so we got 1800 again versus 2800. Again, just not efficient. And again, the 1800 is actually a lie in this, because the gift is free. You get it with your legendary starter kit. The gift of mastery, this is just farming. This is like costs nothing, so that's fine. And the gift of fortune, again, you're gonna get a gift of might or a gift of magic, whichever one you choose from it. So essentially it's just the mystic clovers, which, by the way, again, this price is inflated because you only need 2/3 of this if you're doing your weekly clover farms, okay? Because they go at like a 33% discount. If you don't follow this, you just buy them at like 2/3 of the price. And obviously globes of ectoplasm, which, by the way, the price will be dropping on them. Right now they're still counting at 50 silver. The price is going to be 30 silver, so this is going to be also like 2/3 or whatever of the price. Okay, so Kamotaki, essentially free compared to the other one. Okay, so that's why I wouldn't go for these legends. But if you want to, power to you, enjoy the farm. It's going to be a massive farm. The only thing you really need to know is you gotta do the weekly for your gifts. Where was it? The weekly for the discounted shard. Okay, you need 100 of each shard. You can get 7 per week at a discount. Do the math. Was that 14-15 weeks of a discounted thing just to craft one of them? I don't know. Seems excessive when I can craft a legendary weapon in EOD every 2 weeks. That's just my take. Same with the back piece. Another great thing, if you love fishing, you can get even more ancient ambergris now with Soto. Well, with Jantir Wilds. I was gonna send them together. With Jantir Wilds, you can get more of them. Essentially, I think it's like tripling the amount of ambergris you can get per day. If before you had the Leviathan and the meta and the daily and the weekly, okay, now you also have more NPCs in Jantir Wilds. Okay, so you have Lowland Shore, you have the Jantir Sintry, and you have the Mistburn. Okay, so you can get more chunks. They, to my understanding, they are separate merchants, so they don't share inventory. If you buy from one, you can buy from the other as well, right? So you have a chance to get 4 extra chunks just from them on a daily basis. Okay, so that's fantastic. Also, there is another Leviathan in Jantir Sintry, I believe, like the second map in Jantir Wilds. Another Leviathan, so more ambergris. Okay, overall, you can get more ambergris. You can craft your EOD legendaries for cheaper because you can farm these, or you can just, if you love fishing, more money to you. And that leaves us with basically what we're trying to get done on a daily basis. Okay, we're gonna do the ones, or focus on the ones that like we can get done extremely fast. Okay, as far as Astral Vault daily, I would probably change from World v World at this point, because you unlocked everything. So you're not gonna have a problem doing the PvE one, and the PvE one, honestly, the least amount of effort. A lot of it, 2 or 3 of the daily things you need to do will be done basically just by doing the other things in most cases. Okay, so Astral Vault daily, I do recommend doing PvE at this point. Dragonstorm, 10 minutes of your time. And by the way, a lot of times you're gonna do Dragonstorm, you're gonna complete Astral Vault out of it, except like maybe, I don't know, check out the Vista in Kanta or something like that. Okay, so Dragonstorm, Drakkar, Leyline Anomaly. Now there is a bit of an issue with Leyline Anomaly, depending on the legendary you go into. I will talk about it in the next episode. However, do try to get a Leyline Anomaly done if you can. Treasure Mushrooms, if you have a bunch of alt characters, just park them at the TM spawn location. Log in. If a TM is there, cool. If not, just leave. Special events. like 4 winds, charged quartz, regular bases, IBS and EOD chests, still stays, Drizzlewood NPC, and Dragonfall NPC. All of this, 25 minutes of your time, maybe 30. Okay? While waiting, for example, right? At reset, you have 18 minutes basically until Leyline Anomaly spawns. In those 18 minutes, you can get all of your chests done, you can charge the quartz, you can check all the treasure mushrooms. You're probably not gonna kill all of them, but 2 or 3, very doable. Honestly, I sometimes get all 5, sorry, and like super lucky, obviously, but usually I get at least 3 before Leyline Anomaly spawns. Special event, maybe not gonna be able to do it. Some of them are just a bit more annoying to do, right? Drizzle NPC and Dragonfall NPC, you're gonna get them done. Okay, so all of this you can get done before Leyline Anomaly, which spawns 20 minutes after the reset. Okay, and EOD NPC. Okay, fractals and strikes, try to get them done. If you have been doing daily fractals up to this point, ever since the first video, ever since you hit 80, you kind of don't need to do fractals anymore. You are very likely almost done with getting everything you need for ad infinitum. And the other thing, you also gonna get pristine or fractal relics, which one pristine fractal relic equals 15 fractal relics, which means every 100 pristine fractal relics is your week's worth, is 1500 fractal relics, which is a week's worth of clovers, and you can exchange it 1 for 15. Okay, so if you have a bunch of pristine fractal relics and you are done with ad infinitum, you can take a break from fractals. Right now, for example, I have 400 pristine fractal relics. I'm kind of tired of doing fractals, so I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna exchange them for regular for the next 4 weeks, and I'm good. Okay, I can spend a month not doing fractals right now, right? Because I'm just at that point. But obviously, if you're not, just something to consider. Strikes, try to do the daily. If you find a group for the daily, honestly, they take like 20 minutes. If you just knock all of them out when you find a group, they're really, really fast. They're really not difficult, aside from like maybe Harvest Temple and Lion's Arch. And if those are the dailies, just skip them, whatever, right? We're still trying to get the weekly strike chest from Eye of the North. For that, you will need to do the weekly Forging Steel and Cold War. Don't have to, you can just do the 3 other ones. Ignore these 2. The reward is a bit less, but it's not a big deal. Okay, still trying to get the World v World weekly achievement done. And here's where the weekly changes. Depending on what the next legendary you're aiming for, that would dictate what you're aiming for. So right now it says for the weekly, from the last video, it says End of Dragons meta, or metas, which by the way would also be a daily thing, trying to you know what, I'll talk about in the next video. It's a daily routine either for End of Dragons or for Secrets of the Obscured armor crafting, but either way it would be alternating between these 2 because they kind of come at the same time, and I want to talk about like a minimal amount of gameplay to get the most out of these metas. Okay, so if you're aiming for the legendary weapon because you want to sell it, because you want to make it, doesn't matter, in End of Dragons you're gonna try and get weekly and daily, if possible, End of Dragons metas, specifically Dragon's End, ideally every day, and the other 3 at least once a week, because you just want to get those statues. If you are aiming for the Seasons of the Obscured, Secrets, not Seasons, Secret of the Obscured armor, replace EOD metas with Seasons Secrets of the Obscured metas. And again, I'm going to talk about how I would break down the daily in the next video. That would be really the only difference. Everything else pretty much stays the same. The only thing is now to the daily we're adding, if possible, and this is kind of like to the daily and the weekly, I guess I'll put it like in the middle of the screen. You want to do either daily convergences or at the very minimum 3 convergences a week from each one of the expansions. So 3 from Secrets of the Obscured and 3 from Jantir Wilds. That would be the goal as a bare minimum. If you are not farming for the legendary armor right now, try to just do the weekly. If you're actively farming for the legendary armor from Secrets, try to do it daily. That would be the real difference here. Okay? And again, by the way, you can technically do all 3 convergences, well, all 6 convergences, 3 from Secrets and 3 from Jantir, on the same day to get the weekly achievement. They're just very far apart, but if you have like a day where you're spent gaming, you can technically do it. Okay, I don't recommend it, but you can do it. Okay, then you have the Jantir Wilds NPCs. You can get your ambergris, and if you want to work on Orax or on Klobyarn, I think that's the name, the legendary spear, buy the discounted shards that they sell after you do the heart, 7 per week. If you ever plan on making those, I would try to do those on the weekly as well. But that's about it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And the next one is just going to be a breakdown of what we have talked about in these episodes and how I would go about dividing my daily to achieve my next goal. Because like I said at the beginning of this video and every video before it, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And you just gotta farm ahead and be prepared to have the least amount of difficulties when the time comes that you're able to craft the legendary. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace! Okay, this is kind of the last video in the series for at least 0 to Legendary. I will be probably making some small videos talking more in depth about aspects, but I like to keep things as simple as possible, kind of, you know, friendly to new eyes. This video is a bit more, how should I say it, advanced in a sense, but assuming you unlocked everything that there is to unlock, you are completely caught up between episode 1 to episode 6, right? And honestly, just as long as you have Soto, like as long as you unlock the expansions, finish the story, you're kind of good to go, okay? So I'm going to talk about 2 different daily rotations that I would focus on pretty much every reset, or technically you can do them outside of the reset. They kind of follow a very strict pattern because it's like one thing after the other. And it would depend based on which legendary you are aiming for next. So this is assuming you already got your legendary accessories, the back piece and the necklace. Those are, in my opinion, by far the priority to get. Okay, I believe you should get 2 confluxes, but we're gonna talk about like legendary. Maybe I'll just do a tier list. You know what? At the end of this video, I'll do a tier list of of legendaries, just to you know, spice things up a bit for the videos, I guess, and to kind of like simplify it as well. In terms of the dailies, these would either focus on legendary weapon in End of Dragons or the legendary armor set in Secrets of the Obscured. There is some minutia, I guess you can say, regarding the legendary armor. So I'll talk about that a bit more in depth moving along. Let's start this off with the End of Dragons legendary weapons, which are the weapons I recommend getting. They are one of the easiest weapons to get by far, other than maybe technically a legendary starter kit weapon, which I would only go for the legendary spear. But anyways, that's not about that right now. Let's talk about how you would go about it. There are two ways I would go about this. If I want to go to sleep earlier, I would go about one way. If I don't mind going to sleep a bit later, I would go about it another way. So let's say your daily starts at reset, okay? So between reset till the Naked Man, Layla Anomaly, you have 18 minutes. 18 minutes, technically you have 20 until it spawns, but I like to come there a bit like 2 minutes early just to make sure that everything is kosher, you know? So you have 18 minutes. This is where I would check out all of the treasure mushrooms. There I would try to get some daily chests done, talk to the NPCs, okay? Pretty much you can do everything, maybe even the Astral Vault daily in those 18 minutes, okay? 18 minutes, you go to the Naked Men. It is done at 8:22, 8:23. Finish off the quick dailies and maybe even the event daily. You might be able to finish that as well. We want to try and get to Dragon's End at 8:30. Okay, I'm assuming the reset is at 8, but basically 30 minutes after the reset, I want to get into Dragon's End. Why? I want to get my events done, and there's not much else to do at this point. So, we prepare for the Dragon's End meta. We do our Jade Maw at 8:45 in my case, or like 45 minutes after the reset, and then we do the Dragon's End. Usually, you should be able to find a squad. If not, we're gonna have to skip this step and we're gonna do something that happens later. We're gonna do that earlier. Let's assume for now that there is a Dragon's End meta going on. There is a squad. Keep checking the looking for group. The squad might form as late as 8:50, 50 minutes after reset, and as early as 8:25. So keep checking to see if a squad is being formed. It is not uncommon that there is no squad. However, I would say it's kind of like a 50-50 chance. Okay, so let's assume that there is a squad. You do your Dragon's End meta. You do that basically until 10 p.m. Okay, so 2 hours after reset. This meta takes a while, okay? Like a bit over an hour. From there, you go into Blackout. You finish Blackout, you go right into Gang Wars. From Gang Wars, you go into Dragon's Stand. You go into Drakkar right after, so Dragon's Stand. You want to be on the first group to Dragon's Stand. Okay, you want to get it done as fast as possible. The first group that goes in has the most people, usually finish the fastest. From Dragon's Stand, you go straight into doing Drakkar. And then you have Drakkar ends at like 11:20, so like 3 hours, 20 minutes after reset. And you're going to have 10 minutes to go into Seitung Province to do Aetherblade Assault. You do want to get there before the actual time for the event, just so you don't end up waiting in queue for the map, having to do an overflow, which would take you longer. Okay, so basically, all in all, you are done in 4 hours. After, as soon as the reset starts, you have 4 hours and you're done with all the daily. Sounds like a lot, I know. Alternatively, okay, you can actually, if you don't do Aetherblade Assault the day before, you can do Aetherblade Assault 30 minutes before reset starts. So that would be your daily Aetherblade Assault. It's at the end of the day based on the reset. So you do Aetherblade Assault, then you do your dailies because it ends about at reset. Then you go to Naked Man, then Dragon's End meta, Blackout, Gang Wars, Dragon's Stand, and Drakkar. It takes you still the same 4 hours, but 30 minutes earlier you can go to sleep or whatever. Now, again, technically, This is a nice cycle. You don't have to do it right after reset. You can actually do it pretty much at any time. If you are doing, let's say, Dragon's End at like, I don't know, 3 p.m., you can go into Naked Men after. Then you can go into the, what do you call it? Sorry, if you do Dragon's End meta at 3 p.m., you can go into Blackout after. You can go into Gang Wars after. You can go into Dragon's Den after. You can go into Drakkar. Then you can go into your Seitung Province Aetherblade Assault, and then wait 20 minutes and you get another Leyline Anomaly. Okay, it's a nice circular daily that you can do pretty much at any time. However, this is like 4 hours of your time essentially. If you are doing these daily, obviously that's the ideal. If you are not, that's a whole other, monster to deal with. Now, in the case that Dragon's End meta, you cannot find a group at that time, what you would do is you are doing, you're gonna skip that part. Okay, so Dragon's End meta, this is like at an even hour. That means you can start with Gang Wars. Then you do Gang Wars, Dragon's Den, Drakkar, Seitung Province, Aetherblade Assault, wait 20 minutes, and do your Leyline Anomaly, and hope for another Dragon's End meta. Okay, so there is a nice little rotation. You can kind of like flip the Dragon's End meta with Gang Wars. Okay, so that's pretty much how I would go about it for farming daily a legendary weapon. Essentially, every 2 weeks, if you're doing this daily and somehow manage to finish your Fractal weekly and like doing them every day. Again, this is a lot of gaming hours. I know I don't expect you, like anyone, to actually do this. I'm talking about like the most min-maxed way to do it. It is to do this daily, right? You do this, then you go into your Fractals, 30 to 45 minutes. Somehow fit in the World v World, maybe like on the weekend. Somehow do your strikes daily. Of course, this is a lot of gaming hours. I am aware of it. I'm talking about like this is the best way to go about it, the most efficient way to go about it, to make it so that every 2 weeks you can essentially craft a legendary weapon. Obviously, if you don't have the time, don't stress over it. Do what you can. But know that you can fit this rotation of the daily at any point. You have 3 hours, do what you can those 3 hours depending on where you dropped into the rotation. Now let's talk about the legendary armor dailies, how I would go about it. Okay, so for the legendary armor, which is in Secrets of the Obscure, the daily rotation would completely change, and I would not be doing EOD legendary farming. I do still recommend trying to get the weekly done for EOD. Same as if you're doing the EOD legendary daily, you try to get the weekly done for Secrets of the Obscure. There's no reason, if you have the time, to work on 2 legendaries at the same time, so that next, when you don't have the time, you don't have to work at it as hard, obviously. Okay, so Secrets of the Obscure legendary daily farm. This one, technically, gonna take you a lot less time in terms of like time investment. Not a lot, but like 10 to 40 minutes basically. So you start off at Reset. Reset has the Jantir Wilds Convergence. As soon as you are done with that, you want to go into Leyline Anomaly. If you join the 8 p.m. Jantir Convergence, that convergence you should be done at 8:20, right? So 8 p.m. is the reset. 8:20 you should be done. If you are not, if let's say somehow it took you longer, okay, just go straight into Inner Naos. Either way, if you get into Leyline Anomaly, if you have like managed to do the convergence in time, go to Leyline Anomaly. If you can't, go straight into Inner Naos. Try to do any of the metas, East or West. Do not do the full Spider meta, okay, unless it's like already ongoing and there's a squad ready. Fine, join them. It shouldn't take that long. But ideally, start working on the East one. East one is a lot faster. Usually, people come to Inner Naos right after they do Omnitas, so it's not completely impossible. It's actually like really, really possible and pretty consistent that you can get an inner Naos meta done. If you get it done before 850, start doing your dailies, check on the TMs, check on the alt farming chests, NPCs, all that stuff. 850, try not to make it later. You want to go into Archipelago, okay, the first map in Secrets of the Obscured, and you want to do opening the Wizard's Tower. That starts at 9 p.m. again, an hour after reset. Once you do that, you go into Secrets of the Obscured Convergence, okay, in the Wizard's Tower. Okay, that's 9:30, an hour 30 after the reset. From there, right away, you go into Omnitas, you do that meta, okay? From there, if you didn't do the Naked Man, Leyland Anomaly, 20 minutes after reset because your convergence was too slow, you can get the Naked Men after Omnitas, more than likely. Omnitas is not a very long meta. You should be done within 20 minutes. If, worst case scenario, you just got somehow really unlucky with the groups, it's okay if you don't get the Leyland Anomaly done that day. It's not the be-all end-all. You can do it every 2 hours, so it's not that big of a deal. You might be able to catch it some other time on that same reset. If not, again, Naked Man is, like, in my opinion, the least priority, because you can just easily buy a Mystic Coin. Like, 2 gold is not, or not even, it's like 180 now, 150, 180. It's not the be-all end-all, but ideally you get it done, because it's on the way. Anyways, after Naked Man, all the way till 10:55, basically till 11 p.m, or basically 3 hours after reset. Try to get all of your dailies done, the event, the Astral Vault, your keep checking your treasure mushrooms, finish the chest, do the NPCs, everything that is like the small daily stuff. 11 p.m. or 3 hours after, you do Dragonstorm. Again, join right on, like as soon as it spawns, so you want to be there a bit early just in case, so you like no lag or, you know, loading screen, whatever. Try to be there. I usually go for like 5 minutes before. You can be there 2 minutes before, it's not a big deal. And from Dragonstorm you go into Drakkar, boom, you're done. That's it, you finish with Drakkar, you are done for the day. Okay, again, if the stars align, everything works fine. Okay, so this one takes you essentially 3 hours and 20 minutes, this, what do you call it? This daily rotation. To summarize how your weekly and daily rotation would go, again, super min-maxy, super systematic. If you don't want to play this way, don't play this way. Please just have fun, okay? Because I'm always getting the hate comments of like, well, you shouldn't tell people to play this way. It's like, bro, fuck off. Okay, this is how I would go about things. Obviously, I'm gonna take some breaks sometimes and not do this, right? But if like I'm a person on a mission, I'm gonna do it, okay? I'm gonna farm my legendaries and be done within like 6 or 7 months on one class completely, right? Like on an armor set, I would be done within like 6 to 7 months completely, okay? If I do literally this every fucking single day, which by the way, I do not recommend, you will get exhausted. However, while you're not exhausted, okay, this is how I would do my daily and weekly goals, okay? My daily goals would be basically what I said at the beginning of the video, okay? You're gonna aim for these 4 metas, okay? I took this from the last video because I didn't want to redo it. But essentially, from the daily, you want to do these as much as possible. Just follow the daily rotation I told you about. That takes 4 freaking hours, okay? Try to do that every day. And for the weekly, you want to try and get 6 convergences done, 3 from each. Why? Because essences is a real pain in the dick, okay? If you are farming for the legendary armor set and not the legendary weapons from EOD, you're farming the legendary armor from Soto, your daily would be the second daily I talked about, which is aiming for the armors. Okay, you do the Wizard's Vault, you do Omnitas at least 1. You can do more than 1, obviously, but I don't know, I feel like that's too much. And also, like, the other 2 parts from Wizard's Tower and Omnitas are going to lag behind anyways. So in that regard, I just do 1 Inner Naos, 1 of the 3. Technically, the third one, where you fight whatever his name is, Spider Dude, big guy. Keep forgetting his name. His chest you can choose either the Wizard's Tower reward, the Amnitas reward, or the Naos reward. The cloth, the battery, or the Stardust. Okay, so if you do the third one, then you're good. Honestly, the most efficient way would be to do all 3 inner Naos metas. Again, don't recommend, it's exhausting, but if you enjoy it, fuck it, do it, you know? All 3 metas, you'll get 2 clots and then 1 chest that is a choice between the other 2. Okay, technically, if you do that every day, those 3 and these 2, you can craft a legendary armor essentially every 4 days. Just like from the time-gated aspect of it, okay? And obviously, you do the convergences every single day, 2 a day. Again, following the daily routine that I talked about earlier, it's already included in it, okay? For the weekly, you want to try and get each one of the metas in EOD done, okay? Which is, again, 2 hours-ish, 2.5, I guess, hours, okay? Once a week. Why? Because you can get the statues from each one, you can turn them in for some extra reward, you will keep getting the writs, you will get a good chunk of the whatever that currency is that looks like a red scroll, okay? And it will be very easy for you to craft your next legendary weapon when you have the spirit shards and the clover, just by doing this while maintaining your daily currencies that you get from Secrets of the Obscured. Ideally, if you're not sure which one you want to really go for, I would honestly recommend doing this, the daily Soto and weekly Etherblade and stuff like that, even while farming for the trinket legendaries that I talked about, that I'm gonna talk about, I guess. I'm filming this after I did the after I recorded something else. Oh my god. Okay, anyway, so in my opinion, the best daily weekly rotation is the second one. However, if you're really short on gold, I would go for the EOD metas first and then Soto next. Why? Because this is going to be more lucrative by making and selling the legendary weapon, but it's gonna cost like a lot more spirit shards compared to this. So, yeah. Okay, here's the tier list of the legendaries that I would get. Now, a quick disclaimer, why am I not talking about Coalescence? Why am I not talking about Transcendence? Why am I not talking about Orax for the back piece? Honestly, I don't find them very efficient. I talked briefly about them in the previous episode, episode 6, but to summarize, I just don't find them efficient. Ad infinitum is practically free if you've been doing fractals, and also you'll see that it's like, this is where you get ad infinitum. This is the last legendary you get before you start working on armors and other stuff, okay? It is bottom priority, it provides the least amount of stats, it is not very important compared to these guys. By the time you start working on ad infinitum, it's practically free. You get pretty much everything that you can buy that costs anything, aside from like Gift of Fortune, which you need regardless for Orax. Everything else you are given. It is practically a free legendary. Also, while working on it, you also get an ascended back piece, which you can use for your fractals, right? And by the way, the first ascended back piece that you get, because you keep evolving it, I think like 3 or 4 times, the first one you get is all you need for continuing, right? Obviously, I still recommend getting the Bloodstone ascended back piece because you can change the stats for free. But if you didn't get it, just get the Ad Infinitum's ascended. Okay, I'm not gonna go over how to do the quest, just Guild Wars 2 week kit. Okay, first priority by far, not even close. Okay, there's 3 reasons why you want to get first. 1, it's free, just a bunch of achievements. 2, it helps you work both on Vision and on Aurora. Vision, I believe, is from Living World 4. Aurora is Living World 3, and it requires the materials that you're gonna get by doing Return 2. Or vice versa, maybe Aurora is Living World 4. It doesn't matter, you get the point. And you're also working on Sky Scale while doing this. So, I mean, obvious choice. And also the most stats. Sorry, 4 reasons. It's also the most stats. Okay, after that would depend on your World v World status. Ideally, if you've been following since episode 1, ideally, you should have enough for your first conflux. If you have 1,500 or 1,600 tickets available by now, you can start working on conflux. If you are nowhere near that, I would put it 3rd or 4th. Ideally 3rd, because again, rings are technically the thing you want to work on the most, because they are the 2nd highest in terms of stats. But in case you couldn't, either Aurora or Vision, I recommend doing Aurora first. I believe Aurora was the worst one of the two. And honestly, there's something that you also want to keep in mind while working on... Actually, sorry. Okay, you know what? I'm going to change that. Work on Vision first. However, there is something extremely important when working on Aurora Awakening, and that is the Draconismons hero. This will take you 16 days. Regardless of what you do, this will take 16 resets, basically 16 days, because one of the achievements here takes 16 days. So what I recommend is doing Vision first, which also has its delays, sure, but while you're doing Vision, do Draconismons Master, okay, this specific part. But this would save you 16 days. Not everything else, there are some time delays, but this is the biggest delay in terms of crafting this. 16-day delay. Okay, so while doing Vision, go into Draconismons. So this guy. Okay, Wayfarer's Henge. Just work on this while doing other stuff. Highly recommended. Save yourself 16 days. It takes 16 days to finish this piece of shit that delayed me so much because I was not aware of this, and this is the last thing I did. Like, I spent like 2 weeks doing everything else, and then I get to this place and I was like, motherfuck, 16 days. Okay, save yourself the headache. Get this shit first. Get it out of the way. Okay, it's a massive fucking delay. Okay. But yeah, in terms of like which one of these is first, honestly, if you did the Wayfarer's Henge, just do Aurora. If not, then do Vision. It doesn't matter which one first, okay? After that, let's say if you are doing Conflux 3rd, then do it 5th. If you're doing it 2nd, do it 4th. Okay? It takes 1850 tickets in a perfect world is about 5 weeks of your time. Trust me, it's gonna take you more than 5 weeks to do either of these. So that means in that time you should have been able to get your tickets. And again, this is like min-maxy as fuck, okay? Obviously, play at your own pace. I'm not telling you to rush. I'm talking about like min-max, okay? It is very unlikely for you to do something like this because of the tickets. They take so long to farm, 5 to 6 weeks, okay? It's like min-maxy pace. So you might as well do it something like this. Okay, ideally you do have like 1,500, 1,600 tickets, then I would start working on this. Okay, that is as far as it goes in terms of the first legendary items that I would focus on. Okay, necklace has to be first because it's free. After that, depending on the situation, Conflux or Vision Aurora, and then another Conflux, and then Vision Aurora, whichever one you didn't do yet. Okay, let's talk briefly about why I do not like Coalescence. Okay, even if you like raiding, Coalescence requires 150 legendary insight. Your first legendary armor from raids costs 150 legendary insights because it's 50% off on the first one because you do not have to buy the ascended gear. Which, again, another tip: if you are missing ascended armor set and you're doing raids, which, by the way, if you're doing raids, you shouldn't be missing it because like you should be getting the drops, but you can get literally a full ascended armor set for 100 for free if you do the raid achievements. Okay, but anyways, if you're doing coalescence, if you're like, let's say you're doing raids, you're getting legendary insights. 150 legendary insight equals either a full set or half a set, so 3 pieces. Conflux, okay, you will see that it only costs 1850. Skirmish claim tickets. Why is this important? Okay, Warhelm. Okay, and you scroll all the way down. You need 1270, which means a Conflux is worth 1.5 legendary armor pieces compared to 3. And trust me, if you're getting 1850 World v World, Gift of Battle, you'd never have to worry about it. Like, you're gonna get a lot of Gifts of Battle if you farm 1850, okay? If you keep farming World v World, okay, and you're farming the 1850, just make sure you're collecting Gifts of Battle, because you need 4 of them per Conflux, which, by the way, you're probably gonna get, okay? This fills up really fast, much faster than getting 1850. You can get a Gift of Battle technically once a day. It takes 18 hours, 18 to 20 hours, and I'm pretty sure that's without boosting your World v World gains. And it takes a lot less if it's World v World week. Like that's the event that's going. So you're gonna get it. But it takes a lot longer than that to get the 1850. So per day. Okay, so you're gonna get Gifts of Battle. This is don't worry about it. Okay, so that's why I'm saying Conflux is just more efficient, because you can get a Conflux or 1.5 legendary armors in World v World, or you can get a Coalescence versus 3 legendary armors in Raid. In my opinion, and both of them are going to take you about the same amount of time, okay, like about the 5 weeks farm. Okay, so, you know, do your own math. Obviously, if you want Coalescence for the effect, you know, power to you. In my opinion, it's not efficient, so I would always go for the 2 Confluxes. And since I have mentioned it, let's talk briefly about the legendary armor. Okay, so you have 2 legendary armors that you really are going to go for, unless, you know, you're just doing World v World and you don't care about anything else, then sure, whatever, you're gonna get the World v World. Within a year, you're gonna finish your World v World armor set, sure. But in terms of efficiency, I highly recommend just Secrets of the Obscured. However, and this is the big one, the first legendary armor set that you craft should be the Raid. It takes 5 weeks-ish, if you're like, you know, min-maxi. 5 weeks to get a full set of legendary armor if you do it from Raid, because the first legendary armor from Raid is half off. Because there is an achievement, PV Armor Galleries, sorry. Okay, there's an achievement called Envoy Armor 1 Experimental Armor, which you do in the first 3 or 4 tiers, I believe it's the first 4 tiers, of the Raid. Super easy achievement to do. Honestly, I believe like most of them you don't really need to kill anything other than like something is located after a boss, but like if you join like a finished instance of a raid, you can do some of these objectives. Okay, some of them requires you to like do certain things inside of the raid in combat, but a lot of them are just kind of like go here, click this. Okay, Just make sure when you're doing your raid, let people know you're doing the achievement, which achievement it is. Watch a YouTube video how to complete the said achievement, and you're good to go. When you finish this, you get a choice between chest of heavy, chest of medium, and chest of light experimental armor. Obviously, choose the one that works for you. Let's say you chose the light one because Mesmer is the shit, right? And you're gonna get 6 pieces of armor for each slot, and they're all ascended. Make sure, however, big side note, big disclaimer, do not change the stats on this after you get them. So, you get them, pick the stats, that's fine. Do not change these stats after this point, because otherwise you won't be able to use them as a precursor for the legendary. Okay? I'm not going to talk about how to get the whole legendary, it's just another set of achievements and then crafting. But this saves you 150 legendary insight, which is another 4 to 5 weeks of farming, which is not as efficient as Secrets of the Obscured. So the first raid armor is efficient, it is 150 legendary insights. The second one will require 300 legendary insights, not really worth doing unless you love raids, because it will take you, about 8 weeks to get a full set. Meanwhile, technically, you can get the Secrets of the Obscured armor every 5 weeks. 5 to 6 weeks, you can get a full set of legendary armor from Secrets of the Obscured with very minimal effort, just following the daily rotation I talked about. This is it for the series. 7 episodes. That is 2 more episodes than I thought I would need, but hey, here we are. If you have any comments, if you think I missed something, if you want me to talk more in depth about any aspect of the episodes, please watch the episodes before you make a comment, because I don't want to type in, I don't want to try and... I don't want to seem like I make you look like a fool for saying something that I already covered, but I am a very blunt person, and in my replies sometimes I might be meaner than I should be, but it is what it is. Anyways, please watch the series. If you have a question regarding an aspect of one of the episodes, I would be glad to cover it in another video, or even in the comments if it's a minor aspect of it. And if you want me to just dive deeper into anything inside the episodes, let me know. I already thinking about diving deeper into fractals, not so much a guide on how to do each fractal, but more about, priorities and stuff like that. Maybe even tricks that you can do in fractals to make your life easier and farm them faster. Not so much about a guide on how each boss works or whatever. I don't think that's as important. But yeah, maybe more in depth. I don't think there's much to talk about the metas really. So yeah, if you guys got any thoughts, more than happy to make another video talking about anything. Just nothing pops into my mind right now. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for enjoying the series. Leave a comment, join the stream whenever I stream, because I do not have a schedule. It's kind of on, availability basis. If I got the time, I'll stream. If I don't, I won't. So yeah. Anyways, peace.